hired to assess the works and raising questions. Vermont Senator Patrick Leahy has a broken hip at a fall in his Virginia home. His office says the 82-year-old will undergo surgery to repair it soon. Leahy, who is not running for re-election, is the longest-serving senator in office now. Israel's government officially dissolved today, sending the country into its fifth national election in less than 4 years. The move coming after former Prime Minister Naftali Bennett's fragile coalition fell apart. And the commissioner of Major League Baseball now says he wants to see an automated system in place to call balls and strikes by 2024. This is ABC News.
Are you more than $10,000 in debt? Feel like you're on a never-ending treadmill, staying in one place and never getting ahead with those minimum payments? You feel like there's no way out? Get off the endless debt treadmill and start saving money each month. There are programs in place to help you get free of your debt, and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. The program at Total Financial Freedom can help you get debt-free in months instead of decades. Call Total Financial now at 800-208-1312. 800-208-1312.
I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network. Former Dayton Mayor Nan Whaley, the Democratic nominee in the race for governor against Mike DeWine, says if elected, she'll lead an effort to put a constitutional amendment up for a statewide vote to restore abortion rights in Ohio.
These are extreme actions happening in our communities now. And frankly, I don't think this is about Democrats, Republicans, or independents. This is about women.
Last week's U.S. Supreme Court decision allowed Ohio to enforce the heartbeat law, which essentially bans abortion 6 weeks into pregnancy. Republicans may enact even tougher restrictions. An investigation is underway after there was a hazardous material incident at Cleveland Hopkins International Airport yesterday morning.
The airport's fire department responded to the Hertz rental car area after 2 employees fell ill. They were reportedly cleaning a rental car that had been returned and came in contact with an unknown substance. The 2 employees were taken to Metro Health after experiencing chest pains and dizziness. Upon further investigation, the city of Cleveland said investigators believe the substance was laundry detergent. Kate Burdett, ONN News.
Yesterday marked the 10-year anniversary of a derecho that swept across much of Ohio. The line of storms had wind gusts up to 80 miles per hour and knocked out power to 1 million customers, some for several days. For more state news, go to onnradio.com. I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network.
Stand by. You're back to live and local programming in moments on the Watchdog.
Highland Sports Complex is the coolest destination for sports and entertainment the Ohio Valley has ever seen. Pop in for some open basketball in our field house or reserve some turf time for your next practice or game on our synthetic fields. Online registration is open for development classes and leagues for youth and adults. Highland Sports is also the hottest destination for birthday parties and other events. So come challenge yourself on our play climb and enjoy your favorite virtual reality game in the arcade. No memberships required, so visit highlandsports.com to find your next entertainment experience and get ready to reach new heights.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster with a look at your local weather forecast for your Thursday. Mostly sunny skies, a hot one, a daytime high near 89 degrees, the overnight low of 65 under partly cloudy skies. You'll see clouds, some sunshine, and the threat of a scattered shower around for your Friday with highs in the mid to upper 80s. Have yourself a great one, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
On FM, on AM, online, on demand, and on video, we are where you are. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe is here now.
Good morning. Good morning. We've talked the whole night through. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. It's great to stay up late. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Well, it is a good day again this morning. Sunshine, blue skies already out the Ohio Valley, up and around everywhere. Going to be our last full day of sunshine until the Monday holiday. But it's going to be a great day again today. Warm. Hopefully you're going to be prepared for the heat, about 87, 88, close to 90 for the high today. But other than that, it's going to be just like we've had the last few days. Great sunshine and blue skies. It's 58 right now at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. 55 here at the home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling. And 56 degrees at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. 7:08, 8 after the hour as we get this big gig going for a Thursday, getting ready to head into a holiday weekend. We'll talk a lot about the holiday a good bit here later on this morning. Got a lot of other stuff I want to get into as well. First of all, say, as always, good morning to the executive producer of this program. Let's call him that. That means I can put all the responsibility on him and all mistakes are his. That's the way I try and make it look. Bob Slider, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Howard. Yes, I've got it all this morning. It's all on my shoulder.
Put it all on those big, broad shoulders of yours. So here's my first question before I get into some serious stuff this morning. Did you choose door A or door 1 or door 2 yesterday on your way to Moundsville to get gas?
I went back and forth, but I trusted our caller, and he was right on the money. I went past Bel Air. I went down the Ohio side. The prices were, a lot better than Elm Grove, I'll tell you that. What do we say, $4.80, right around that range, Howard? Bel Air yesterday. So I thought, man, should I take, Monty Hall said take curtain number 1, but no, I'm going to keep on going. And sure enough, they're at Walmart in Moundsville, $4.45.
Oh, geez, that's pretty good. All right, so you trusted the caller.
And the caller was exactly right. Exactly.
Let me just make sure I have this right. So you trusted the caller more than you trusted me.
I went with the lifeline. Yes, Howard. I went with the caller.
All right. Well, apparently it worked out for you. So you get the best price of gas. Still a lot of gas price text hanging around from yesterday. We talked about this. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with this today, but we started off with this yesterday. $4.47 in Bel Air. Kroger says one of the people. $4.49 in Moundsville. That according to Gas Buddy. And somebody else suggested simplest way for me, instead of asking you all to help me out every day, is simply get the Gas Buddy app, and you can check the price of gas anytime around the Upper Ohio Valley, anytime around the country for that matter. And that is true, except I wanted to try and see what you all were telling me when you're out and about. But if you do want to check the price of gas, Gas Buddy is a good place to do it. We had the interview scheduled with the chief petroleum analyst for Gas Buddy twice, and both times we had problems and messed up. And Bob, I was so embarrassed to call him back the third time and say we screwed up that I let it go. I haven't had the Gas Buddy guy on for a while, so maybe later this summer we'll bring him back. And I wanted to talk to Pat DeHaan about some things from Gas Buddy, but after we have to cancel twice on him, because I know how irritated I get when people cancel on me. One time it's okay, second time it's like, come on, what's going on here? So I just decided I was just going to let it go. Again, from yesterday, it's probably the guy who called you or the girl who called you. Walmart in Moundsville, $4.45 a gallon, which is what you found, right?
Absolutely. And Howard, I want to say a big old good morning to Moundsville this morning. I spent the majority of the day yesterday down in Moundsville, and it was enjoyable. Everywhere I went, there was smiles on people's faces. Nobody told me, get the hell out, get out of here, quit bothering me. It really was a great day. And you know what? It's been a while since I've done that, spent most of the day in Moundsville. And what a great little town it is.
You have a low bar. If they don't throw you out, you say they're good. Hey, they're wonderful people. They didn't throw me out.
Right. They didn't tell me, look, see the door over there, buddy? Get the hell out of here. No, it was great. And everybody was in a great mood. But again, because of I think the wonderful weather had a lot to do with it. But just people going about their business with a smile on their face. Hi, how you doing? It just was a really, really pretty day. And I enjoyed my day in Moundsville.
I don't want to disparage any other community in the Ohio Valley. But of the smaller towns around here, I have always found that Moundsville has been able to maintain more of its small town charm than many others have. Their business community is really, they hold the local businesses. They hold together. There's a lot of old time businesses there. There are new businesses opening up. Chamber of Commerce is pretty active. The city actually doing a good job these days. Lots of activity down there anymore with, the Four Seasons pool that they've upgraded there, and the Riverfront Park, which has all kinds of activity. Moundsville really is just a great sort of old small town. We had John Miller on with us not too long ago. John is the guy who did the documentary about Moundsville, and he texts me all the time anymore with neat little tidbits about Moundsville, new things he sees and finds, and he's a guy who's come to love Moundsville, and he made that documentary, but he's written several articles about it around the country and so on. And I would agree with you; they're just a delightful town. That sounds a little condescending. Delightful.
I hate to be
But they're a
corny,
good town.
but it was just a happy feeling that continued all day long. And again, the weather really contributed. And man, are we getting spoiled with the weather or what?
Yes.
But
yes.
it was that small town that I've gotten away from, Howard, and just to park the car and to walk and enjoy things. I don't get to do that very often because I'm always in a damn hurry. I'm always
That's
looking,
right.
how quick can I get in and I get out? Yesterday was different. I just enjoyed it. I went with the flow, and man, did I really enjoy myself.
I completely agree. I mean, it's just a delightful town, and I don't get down there enough either. So there you go. Off the text line, Moundsville always has the cheapest fuel too. Okay, all right. So one more thing to put in Moundsville's favor, I guess there. Text line is open for anybody who wants to talk about anything at all. 304-214-1600. 304-214-1600. A lot of stuff we're going to get into it today. Some local stuff, some national stuff. The January 6th committee has subpoenaed one of the counsels to the White House, Pat Cipollone, who was deeply involved in advising President Trump in and around January 6th, and he will bring his information to that January 6th hearing. And Bob, I've been thinking a lot, obviously, and we've been talking a lot about January 6th and about Donald Trump in particular. After that hearing a couple days ago, where Ms. Hutchinson talked about Donald Trump throwing dishes and saying, "I'm the effing president and I'll do what I want to do," and his volatility, his anger. I say he sounded like he was unhinged, according to what she had to say. And it got me thinking, it is no secret, you all know, and I'll get a text here, somebody saying this, I always have thought Donald Trump was a little, off the beam. But who was the most recent villainous president, if you will, in this country? The one that everybody looked at and said, my God, he'll go down in history as a disaster. Who was the most recent one of those?
I would say that's your boy, Richard Nixon.
Yeah, Richard Nixon is at the moment and we could go back in history and probably find some that are comparable, but Richard Nixon is the one that when we talk about presidential scandals, presidential failures, bad presidents, criminal presidents, we think of Richard Nixon. So I got thinking, Nixon, Trump, Watergate, insurrection. Which incident was worse for the country? Nixon, there was part of Nixon that seemed pretty deranged. You remember at the end of his presidency, after Watergate was closing in, Nixon, it was said, would wander the halls of the White House and talk to the pictures on the walls. Remember that? Remember he called Henry Kissinger in at one point and said, sit down and get on your knees and we're going to pray together, Henry. And Kissinger thought that was a little bit weird. And he was drinking a lot in the end. So he was a little bit deranged. But I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I think Trump out-deranges Nixon. What do you think?
Well, I think with Nixon, just my opinion, it was Nixon's henchmen, I think, that was I think the real bad guys, the ones with the cover-up, and you do this and we'll do that. And I think that's where Nixon got in trouble and then became deranged when he knew the end was near. With Trump, it was all him, man. It was, there's nobody telling him what to do. And I just can't, get the picture of the limousine where they're telling him, no, we're not going to the Capitol. I can't wait for the movie.
I never thought about, you hit a point that I had not thought about as I just thought about this in my head last night. You're right. Nixon had aides who supported him and who either took his orders or maybe pushed him a little bit towards the Watergate kind of thing. I think it was probably Nixon's idea, or he wanted to win, and so the aides gave him some ideas on how to do it. But Trump actually fought against his aides. That's what we're learning from the January 6th hearing. a lot of the people around him were going, Mr. President, you can't do this. Mr. President, you lost this election. Do not push this any further. Mr. President, you cannot go down to the Capitol. It's dangerous. Mr. President, you cannot let the magnometers go because armed people will come here into this rally to get you. The aides tried to stop him. Nixon or Trump, I'm talking about. Nixon's aides actually enforced him or
got him in deeper. Yeah,
got him in deeper. Yeah, I mean, remember that song, Nixon and Haldeman, Ehrlich Mundine? There was a little song about that we used to play at the time. So that's a good point. Which was or is worse, Watergate or the insurrection?
I think the insurrection. I'll have to say that because Watergate, the majority was the cover-up. You know, that's what got Nixon, forced to resign. It was the cover-up, not the crime itself. It was, no, we didn't do that. And this got deeper and deeper and deeper. That was just a chain reaction, knee-jerk reaction there on January 6th.
Watergate was a pure political story, political scandal, if you will. Now, I mean, it involved a criminal act, the breaking into the Watergate Hotel and some other things. And critically, it involved Nixon lying over and over and over again. But still, it was a pure political scandal. Trump's actions in and around the election, yes, I guess you could call it political, but they were an attack on democracy itself. The idea that they were going to essentially steal the election. Nixon just wanted to see. Maybe here's the difference. Nixon wanted to win the election at any cost. So if the break-in is what was necessary, if sending out fake letters about your opponents, making them look bad was necessary, Nixon wanted to win at any cost. Trump didn't win and didn't care because he was going to hold on to power anyway. So I think, now I know a lot of you are going to say, Howard, it's the way you always think about Trump. I think Trump was way worse than Nixon, and I think that that the insurrection is way worse than Watergate. Nixon, if you could take the Watergate scandal out of Nixon's presidency, it was not a terrible presidency. He tried to find a way to get out of Vietnam quicker. It was a quagmire that we were in, and certainly some of that could be held against him. But if you took Watergate out of his presidency, it wasn't a bad presidency. He opened up the way to China. He tried to deal with the economy. I mean, he acted like a president as opposed to an idiot or a deranged fool. So I think, and in retrospect, I think when history judges those two men, I think history will judge that Donald Trump had no redeeming value to this country. Nixon, I think, did. And and one more thing, he had the cojones to resign. To say, all right, look, I'm in too deep. I got to get out of here, and I quit. So I'm putting Trump at much worse than Nixon, and I'm putting the insurrection much worse than Watergate.
Because don't you agree, Howard? With Nixon's all his arrogance and selfishness, he did support the country. He did put the country probably even a little bit above himself. Donald Trump has never put anything above himself.
Yes, I would agree. I would absolutely agree. And the resignation was an example of that. Now, did he do it to save his own skin, to avoid impeachment? Yeah, probably. But I think you're right. Nixon had a sense, at least, of what it was to live in America, had a sense of what the country was supposed to be. He subverted it, but I think he had a sense of it. I don't think Trump does. Trump has nothing other than his own personal gain at heart most of the time. Off the text line at 304-214-1600, Howard, nobody died in Watergate. Yeah, there's a good point. That's true. That's absolutely true. So that's a good point. Let's see. Text line. Mr. Monroe, Secret Service. Yes, we talked about this at great length yesterday. Secret Service disputes the testimony regarding the Trump and the limousine. Absolutely. And then this texter says more fake news. No, it is not fake news. It was accurate news. Ms. Hutchinson testified that someone else told her the story about Trump and the limousine. I concur completely that I suspect we're going to have verification that story was not true. I agree. But it's not fake news. It's real news. The news is, here's what she said someone told her. That was real news. Number two, are you going to indict Trump for allegedly throwing ketchup? It isn't throwing ketchup. It isn't for saying to his driver, I'm the effing president, I'll do what I want. It is for his clear lack of control, lack of presidential ability to control himself, for violent outbursts, which we heard more than just the ketchup story. We have heard over and over again when he was in office, and several times from Ms. Hutchinson and from others, he had no ability to control himself. So now I'm not going to indict him for throwing ketchup. I am going to say that as a country, we need to understand that that man was deranged. He was unhinged, especially at the end. Nixon should have burned the tapes. Yes, we all agree. I mean, he should have burned the tape. But that's another point is he didn't. And he had Supreme Court rulings that ruled against him. And you know what he did in those cases? He followed the order of the Supreme Court. So there you go. Howard, you ignore the state of the Biden presidency while wasting time on a partisan committee. Well, again, I'm just going to... It is not a partisan committee. It is not a witch hunt. It is absolutely discovering facts that we need to know, and it is showing how Donald Trump was deranged, intentionally tried to overthrow the country and to steal an election and destroy democracy. And this is not a partisan thing at all. And I ignore the state of the Biden presidency. I think I've talked about the Biden presidency often, and I think he's got a lot of problems. We are, however, not today talking about it. It's like saying that if we talk about the 4th of July, somehow then, therefore, we're ignoring Christmas. No, today we're talking about the 4th of July. Let's see. Hearsay. I'm not sure what this means.
I think I did because I that's what I thought. I'm surprised somebody didn't stop that female who was testifying and say, no, you can't say that because that's hearsay. You heard that from somebody else. Stop right there. I think that's what the texter's saying.
Yeah, and there's no, again, I think that the committee made a mistake in putting that part of the testimony forward. I know they were looking to make a big point, but it was unverifiable. Let me back up. If I had been the committee, before I let Ms. Hutchinson tell that story, I would have, before I did that, had the Secret Service agents and so on record as either saying yes or no. So, but my problem, as I said yesterday, is the fact that this was all screwed up, the fact that it was hearsay. I do believe we're going to hear from Secret Service who are going to say, no, that's not true. Logic tells me it's not true because it's my understanding of the way the presidential limousine, the beast, works. Trump would be far too far behind. It's not like being in the backseat of my car and, reaching over and tapping the guy on the front and going, go to the Capitol. Trump would have been far too far away. So the problem is that part of her testimony probably is not accurate. And the sad thing about that is it will then, what am I saying? It will destroy her credibility in some people's minds for other parts of it. All right, it is 7:27, 27 after the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. I got one more story I want to get to before the news break, but first let's take care of some business here. It is a Thursday morning on the Watchdog.
Cybersecurity attacks can cripple and even force a small business to close. Does your organization have a focused approach to being cyber resilient? If you can't answer yes, you should contact Omni Strategic Technologies to help you identify the steps to protect your data and reputation from the very real cyber threats that exist today. Schedule your free consultation by calling Omni at 304-242-7600 or online at omniperforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only cybersecurity firm that the Watchdog trusts.
Are you or your loved ones facing a serious legal battle? The law office of Paul Harris wants you to know you aren't alone. Do you need someone that's not afraid to go to trial and fight for your rights? Attorney Paul Harris and his team are willing to go where most firms are not. The courtroom. With a successful track record in civil litigation, criminal defense, including tax issues and healthcare fraud, Harris Law Office will fight for their clients by offering the most aggressive representation in and out of court. Call Paul Harris at Harris Law Office for a free consultation. 304-232-5300.
It's the summer's hottest party, the Circus Saints and Sinners Party on the Plaza, presented by Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. The fun happens Saturday, July 9th at the Plaza on Market in downtown Wheeling. Enjoy food trucks, beer and wine, and all-day live music starring Pittsburgh's No Bad Juju and Cleveland Rockers Trailer Park Ninjas, with special guest Spinning Jenny. Get tickets at partyontheplaza.org.
Introducing our new redesigned 7 News app. Our new app features a sleek, modern design and easy-to-navigate home screen with quick access to local news content and a localized weather forecast. Subscribing to notifications is easier, and with one tab, you have access to recent push notifications. There are more ways to watch and find video. To get the new WTRF 7 News app, just update the latest version or download the WTRF 7 News app in your Apple or Google Play Store by searching WTRF.
Live and local for the Ohio Valley. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
Jeremiah was a bullfrog, was a good friend of mine. I never understood a single word he said, but I helped him drink his wine. And he always had somebody fine wine.
Off the text line, we're talking about, Bob and I were talking about whether or not Donald Trump is worse than Richard Nixon. Was Watergate or the insurrection worse? And we're having some conversation about that. And you're welcome to text me your thoughts on that at 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. Off the text line, why do you say that Trump was deranged as president? He still thinks he's president, and so do millions of voters. This is far from being over, I believe. I'm not sure what you mean by far from being over. His presidency is over. It was over on January 11th after there was the inauguration, but I don't know. You can text me if you want to, 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. Meanwhile, back at Mar-a-Lago, Rodney Dangerfield's ghost is slicing on the driving range. Okay. If you want to text, that's fine. What do we got coming up today besides this conversation? And we'll continue this if you'd like to on the phone lines at 304-232-8255 or on the text line. President Biden had an announcement yesterday about essentially about Ukraine, which is something I've been afraid is going to happen, and it looks like we're starting to escalate even more. We'll talk about that in just a bit. Wheeling Council considering revising the building code to give developers more leeway in the number of fire exits they have. We talked to the mayor about that earlier this week. The fire chief and assistant chief will come in today to talk about how this new proposal will work and how they will still guarantee fire safety under this revised plan. As the Supreme Court this week blurred the lines between church and state, outspoken Congresswoman Lauren Boebert says there shouldn't be any line at all. She says the church should be in charge of the government. Adam Kinzinger says, doesn't that sound like the Taliban to you? And on the eve of America's Independence Day weekend, patriotism is at an all-time low. We'll take a look at a new Gallup poll and see why people say they are less proud of their country now than they were in years gone by. All of this coming up here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Again, your calls, your texts, lots of good conversation. Check the weather forecast. Our final day of a great weather, and we get some rain and maybe even some storms coming in. Also, our final day with Aaron before his vacation. That's all coming up in a minute or two. But first, let's go to the news desk and see what's happening around the Ohio Valley. Stephanie is here. Good morning, Steph.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm Stephanie Grinley with your 7 News headlines for June 30th. West Virginia is grieving the loss of one of its most outstanding residents. Herschel Woody Williams passed away peacefully yesterday at the age of 98. Williams was the last surviving Medal of Honor recipient from World War II. After the war, he served in the Marine Corps Reserve and worked at the VA for decades helping other veterans. He launched a foundation dedicated to serving Gold Star families, and a Navy ship was even named the USS Woody Williams in his honor. But Woody was always a man that demonstrated classic humility and gratitude. 4 local business owners competed against one another yesterday at Wheeling Heritage's Show of Hands. Last night's big winner was Libby Granby, who owns Table 304. Table 304 creates grazing boards for large and small events in Wheeling. They also operate a full-service coffee shop with grab-and-go food options. Granby says she will use the winnings to obtain a commercial-grade food processor to increase the business's efficiency. In national news, R. Kelly has been sentenced to 30 years in prison for using his superstardom to subject young fans to systematic sexual abuse. The singer and songwriter was convicted of racketeering and sex trafficking last year. U.S. District Judge Ann Donnelly imposed the sentence at a courthouse in Brooklyn. The sentence caps a slow-motion fall for Kelly, who was 55. That was a look at your 7 News headlines. I'm Stephanie Grinley. Have a great Thursday, everyone.
Cybersecurity attacks can cripple and even force a small business to close. Does your organization have a focused approach to being cyber resilient? If you can't answer yes, you should contact Omni Strategic Technologies to help you identify the steps to protect your data and reputation from the very real cyber threats that exist today. Schedule your free consultation by calling Omni at 304-242-7600 or online at omniperforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only cybersecurity firm that the watchdog trusts.
Why did I want to work for CEC? You mean besides the fact that they're a leader in the industries they serve, like environmental and civil engineering, air quality, and water resources? Or the fact we're employee-owned, so we share in CEC's success? Well, challenges get me fired up, and CEC's employees pride themselves in finding cool solutions that solve unique problems for our clients. We're always creating, using our expertise to save those clients money and meet their challenges. I've worked on sustainable landscape projects, nature centers, and with the shale oil and gas industries too. Another reason I'm with CEC? I love my West Virginia home, and I'm helping build her future close to my family.
Creative solutions that are building West Virginia's future and can build yours close to home. Find that opportunity with CEC when you go to cecinc.org/careers. CEC, big firm capabilities, small firm culture. cecinc.org.
We are compassionate.
We are focused.
We are confident.
We are dependable.
We are resilient.
We are skilled.
We are empathetic.
We are knowledgeable.
We are respectful.
We are here.
For you and your family.
We are close to home. We are
WVU Medicine.
Hey there, Dave Weekly here. Metro News Hotline presents what's trending in sports, music, movies, tech, television, and more from a Mountain State point of view. Renowned local and national guests pepper the daily lineup with authoritative insights and commentary on a wide variety of topics from West Virginia high school sports to the financial markets. Join the fun. Every day, Coop and I dip into irreverent discussions with calls, texts, tweets, the question of the day, and the always popular In or Out. Metro News Hotline, weekdays from 3 to 6 on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 want to thank the owners and contractors of the Ohio Valley for using their locally trained workers to help build for the future. Local 83 helps design, fabricate, and build the gas infrastructure for the oil and gas industry here in the Ohio Valley. Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 is 300 members strong and growing. They also do residential, commercial, and industrial work on both sides of the river. For more information, call Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 at 304-233-4445.
For contractors, it's true that time is money. Let Menards save you a bit of both. You'll find the best selection and prices in our real lumber yards and drive-through warehouses. You can drive right up to the materials you purchased in store or on Menards.com, with plenty of room to load them directly into your truck or van. It's more efficient at Menards. We help contractors get in, out, and back on the job.
Once again, Toyota is the best resale value brand according to Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com. So stop waiting and check out a new Camry, available with all-wheel drive and a 24-valve V6 engine, delivering an impressive 301 horsepower. Or check out a stylish Venza with an all-hybrid powertrain and 40 miles per gallon. Visit buyatoyota.com and reserve yours today. Toyota, let's go places.
Watch out! He could climb on his soapbox at any time. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
First thing I remember, I was lying in my bed. Couldn't have been no more than 1 or 2.
the biggest story around here yesterday was the death of Woody Williams, the final living Medal of Honor recipient. And we talked about it early on this show, thanks to Mac Warner, the Secretary of State. He kind of broke the story for us. It was here first, I think, in the Upper Ohio Valley, then picked up by the other folks. But, Bob, it was kind of what most people in the media were talking about yesterday, large tributes to Woody Williams on a statewide talk line. Hoppy had a lot of really good conversation about Woody Williams' life and career and so on. Mayor Elliott had a great tribute to him, both on the air here on the Mayor's Show, on the Watchdog, which was yesterday at noon. You're Wheeling, no two ways about it, with Wheeling Mayor Glenn Elliott and Vice Mayor Chad Thalman. And newspaper has a big piece on it as well. It was certainly a story that caught. It was a reminder story. Is that a way to call it, Bob? It was a story that sometimes people have to be reminded about the heroes that are still among us, you know?
And I think everything was sincere. And I got to say this, again, I was in the vehicle a lot yesterday. The mayor did a bang-up job. I expected Hoppy and the whole Metro team to do a great job. But, when the mayor went in there and talked about his time with Woody Williams, it was great.
Yeah, the mayor reflected on the times that Woody Williams was here in town, the things he had to say. I think he said Woody Williams is how old, 98? I think the mayor said he was the most active 98-year-old he ever heard. It makes me feel a little embarrassed. I've slowed down so badly at barely 70, right? There's Woody Williams until really just very, very recently, traveling the country, talking and supporting veterans, supporting the issues that are important to him. And, 98. So I think when the mayor said he was probably the most active 98-year-old he'd ever seen. But Woody Williams, the last surviving World War II Medal of Honor recipient, died yesterday at 98. Earned his Medal of Honor for actions during Iwo Jima, which is a pretty tough thing to do. Harry Truman think about the history here. Harry Truman is the guy who gave him his medal.
I saw the picture yesterday.
History, Harry Truman.
It was awesome. I mean, you know what, Howard? I had to catch myself yesterday because, listening to all this stuff, I was sad. I was sad for Woody Williams. And then I thought to myself, if there was ever anybody that grabbed the most out of life, that got every ounce out of what he was given, it was him. So reflection, yes, but no sadness. I mean, it was his time and he went, and I just wish I'd give anything. It's one of those things I look back on, I kick myself. He was in Wheeling many times. I wish I would have made plans to go shake his hand and tell him what a hero he was. That's what I thought about yesterday.
Yeah, I agree. And look, it is. You're right. There's no need to be sad for Woody. He had an unbelievably full life up till the age of 98. Maybe the message, as you said, to all of us is, live your life, leave a mark behind, no matter how old or young you may be. That's important. I don't get too preachy or philosophical here, but I think that's something that certainly you see a story like the Woody Williams story, and it reminds you. All right, it's 18 to the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Looking like another good day outside. I'm looking through the window here at the home studios, and man, the sunshine yet again is beaming in, although, Aaron Myler, this may be our last day for at least all sunshine. Is that right?
Yeah. We're getting some, it's going to change here shortly. We're going to get some other weather coming in soon with some rain coming in, but even with the weekend and some rain here and there, number one, we kind of need it, and number two, it's not going to be all rain all day every day. So I feel like it's not that bad. It's just different.
It's not bad. It's different.
Try to look at the bright side.
Today is going to be pretty much like the last several days, except warmer, right? The heat's going to be a little bit more of a factor today.
Correct. It's going to be a little bit warmer, high of 87, and then we're going to get to a little bit stickier by the end of the day. Nothing miserable, just like it's not been humid at all the past few days. It's going to just be a little bit more humid, but definitely not terrible for your day today. Just a little touch of humidity popping into your forecast.
But if you have some things that you want to do outside or have been doing some things outside, You go out and do them today. It's going to be bright sunshine, blue skies, but it is going to be hotter and stickier. So maybe be a little bit more careful with yourself and your pets and all those kind of things. Because once we get above 82 or so, I start to get a little bit nervous about people not paying close enough attention to being hydrated and all that kind of stuff. But this will be the last really all morning, every morning this week. I have awakened, looking out as I am right now, to beautiful sunshine streaming through the windows. I'm looking at just a gorgeous summer day out there. This is the last morning that I will have to actually wake up to this beautiful sunshine. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, I mean, tomorrow you might have some in the morning, but it's not going to be an all-day kind of event. So it just depends on the exact timing, because they'll start to build in pretty quickly through tomorrow morning. We'll probably have a tiny bit, maybe, to start off your Friday, but like I said, quickly from there getting some clouds building in. So probably not too much in the way of any sun tomorrow. But we still have partly cloudy. We'll still have sun coming through at times. It's just not going to be nothing compared to the last several days here.
But I know we're looking for some rain, but are we looking for storms? A couple of people were muttering in the street, I think we're having big storms again this weekend. Are we looking for storms or just some rain?
We have some storms that are possible. I think, again, like what we talked about, I think last week, we're not looking at some insanity like we had a couple weeks ago. Like we are barely, there's a couple of us, the very northern tip of the Panhandle is under a 1 out of 5 risk, but nothing crazy. But you could have a couple isolated things that kind of come through, but nothing that I'd really concern yourself with much. Just it could be windy, it could be a little bit of hail, but like I said, we're barely under a 1 out of 5, and that's only a few of us, so it's not like it's going to be what we had a couple weeks ago. That was a 3 out of 5. It was much crazier. So there could be some storms. There probably will be, but I wouldn't stress too much with crazy stuff happening. But, I mean, there's always a possibility of some isolated
severe
storms.
The weatherman's warning. Of course, I could be wrong.
I put it in at the end.
Going to be another warm day tomorrow, too. Clouds, maybe some rain, and it's going to be hot again.
Exactly. It's going to be hot again. There'll be some clouds and some rain, getting up into the upper 80s. It's going to be way more humid tomorrow. So I think that's one of the big things you'll notice first off, besides just the heat, is that it's going to be a lot more humid for your day before the rain arrives. But at least the rain could start in the afternoon, but the bulk of it's going to be safe for Friday evening. So we'll see that coming through Saturday. Saturday, I mean, I think your afternoon and evening won't be terrible. I think it's going to be a lot more scattered and broken apart and lighter by then, but you still could see some around. Then Sunday and Monday, not looking too terrible. I mean, I still have a chance for rain out there, but I ended up adding a couple spotty showers possible on the 4th, but I think it's spotty, a couple showers. I mean, I don't think it's going to ruin your picnic, is what I'm saying.
Gotcha.
I guess I wouldn't stress too much about it. So, yeah, I mean, it's not going to be. I think the problem is we're coming off a really, really, really nice week. So everything I say from here on out just sounds way worse than where we are.
Yeah, and all this week has been almost a perfect week. It'd be tough to beat this week. Sunshine, blue skies, relatively mild temperatures all the way. Again, a little bit warmer today, but you're right. It would be hard to beat this week, and so therefore anything else seems by comparison. What's your travel weather like? Have you looked to see what your travel weather is going to be like?
Let's not talk about it.
Oh.
It's going to rain and kind of isolated storms and showers the entire time I'm there. So I figured I'm a meteorologist. I'm still going to go to the pool. I'm just going to keep an eye on the radar and just kind of go in when I need to. So
you got your flights rescheduled. I know they canceled your first one. You've been able to
yes,
get another flight.
That was this weekend. Has all been fine. It's the weekend 2 weekends from now where I'm going out.
Oh, it's the big.
Again.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
It's a different trip to see a friend in Connecticut this time. The airline just canceled all their flights for the whole route, but like I said the other day, there needs to be a rule. Let's make this into law. Let's all protest. If you cancel my flight, you are required to buy me a flight on a different airline around the same time, because what if you had an actual serious vacation with we're not just visiting a friend for a few days, but you have a hotel booked, all these things planned, and then they cancel your that's just not fair.
No,
so
you're sort of half joking about it, but I'm serious. There should be some kind of regulation that says if the airline, if for fault of their own, not your fault, but their fault, If they cancel your flight, they should be obligated to find you a flight in or around the same time and at the same price. They shouldn't, say, oh, well, now you're booking so short of time in advance, the price is going to go up. No. I booked months ago. You canceled it. This is your problem. The price should stay the same, and they should put you on some airlines, even if it's not their own.
Exactly. I agree.
Around
100%.
the same time. And I'm not being funny about that. I think that should be a regulation. I think the airline should be required to do that.
Yeah, no, I actually, I think it's exactly. I agree 100%. Because I think it's not. It's such a weird industry already. How the prices change literally every 5 seconds, and it's. I mean, I had a good price on a flight. I booked back in April, in the beginning of April, when we were supposed to book things just to get it over with, and then you cancel a few weeks out, and then now I'm going to have to spend hundreds more because of it. That's not my. And you mess up a whole trip. I had, like I said, luckily mine's just to visit a friend, so it's a lot more flexible. But what if you were getting a hotel and you had a car booked and you had all these things that now all of a sudden come in? What I ended up doing was I found a flight that gets in the evening I wanted to fly in instead of earlier in the day, and then I bumped back my other flight that I was coming back. I had to take off an extra day now because the only flight out is either super early in the morning where I can't get to the airport easily, or later in the evening, which I was just I'll just take the next day off, and I have the time, so I was I'll just take the next day off. So I don't have to worry about it. I was texting friends, and I was Steven. I was like, should I just if a flight lands in Pittsburgh at midnight, if I drive from there to here, I'll probably get back at 2 a.m. and just go right into work. And he's like, do not do that. You are a psycho.
The answer to that is no. Do not do that. First place, the reason is, no. I've had those late night return to Pittsburgh flights, and if everything works perfectly, maybe you'll get into Pittsburgh on time, you'll get back home in time, and you won't get any sleep in your case, but you get up. But invariably, when they say they'll land at 12 o'clock, by the time you're out of the airport getting your luggage, blah, 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 now you're at 12:30, 12:45. No, do not do that. Do not do that. You want to take the extra day off. You absolutely have. And who knows if that flight will be canceled. The way things have been.
Howard.
Yeah. You were talking about people who have to be somewhere. Imagine folks, for example, who are taking a cruise, and they have to fly to Miami to get on the cruise ship. Well, the cruise ship is going to leave at a certain time. They're not going to wait for you because your plane was late. So if they cancel your flight and you don't get into Miami on time to get to the dock on time, you're going to be waving to that cruise ship as it goes away. And I speak from experience on this. Cruise lines aren't going to give you your money back. So the airline would have cost people. Yeah, it would have cost a huge amount of expense for you. So again, I honestly think it should be a requirement that if they cancel your flight, if they cancel it for, I don't know. I'm trying to think what a terrorist threat. For a really legitimate reason. But I think if they cancel the flight, they should be required to pay for your new flight. They should be required to keep your price the same and find you a new flight that gets you where you want to go when you want to get there.
Yeah, you don't pay anything more. They just keep your money, but they pay, if it's whatever the price is, they pay it for you. Because it's some people were looking at coming down this weekend, and he was like, thank the Lord you booked so long ago when you did, because everything's sky high now. And it's luckily I had some points to use up for stuff, so that was fine. But it's still this is costing me a lot more than it would have otherwise, even though it is points. It's still that's still money you accrued essentially. But it's you're still costing me a lot more because that's not my problem that you canceled my flight. So I don't know how we get that rid of the law, but I think we should.
We'll work on that. When do you leave? Tomorrow?
I leave tomorrow morning. I think it's at 5 or 6 or 7 a.m. or something like that. So I checked in. I have to get myself packed. I have a list of stuff. I usually don't pack until the day before or the morning of, just because I'll have the outfits all ready tonight. But all the bathroom stuff for your face or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't pack until the day of, because you end up using it again for a shower that morning.
Absolutely.
So I just figure I'm going to make a very, very, very in-depth list of every single thing I need, which bag it needs to go into, and just plop it all in the last minute. So I have the list made, so I have the hard part done.
And off you go. Finally, have you prepared Adam for 4 weeks, for 4 days with us, or 5 days, whatever it is?
I told him, I said, they're kind of crazy, so you might need to just mentally prepare. But no, I think he's ready. I think he has notes for everything for the show and for when to call and whatnot. If he forgets to call, I told him he knows. I'll try to make sure I remind him, but I mean, it's his first day on mornings alone. I think it's my first day of morning. It's kind of stressful at first just because there's so much happening, but it's also just, you just have to, it's one of those, like you just have to push the bird off the ledge or whatever, the nest or, you know, that thing.
All right, Aaron, have yourself a good vacation, a nice trip. Tell Stephen we all said hello from the Watchdog, and we'll see you in a week or so.
We'll see you then. Have a good one, you guys. Have a good weekend.
All right, thanks a lot. Aaron Myler, he's off down to visit Stephen Ruffing and spend some time down there on vacation. We get Adam while he's away. Adam will fit in, don't you think, Bob? I mean, he'll, you know, we're a little unusual to deal with, but I think he can fit in.
Well, I'm not sure. I don't think Adam is as outgoing as Aaron, which I don't think a lot of people in Wheeling are outgoing as Aaron. But
I don't think anybody is as outgoing as Aaron, quite frankly. So you're probably right about that. But I'm sure. Look, over the years I've gone through a lot of these morning meteorologists, and they've all come in going, "What the hell is this?" And then, you know, very shortly they get it figured out. You know, everything from Brian Davis to Emily, Zach, and now Aaron. I think we had somebody before Brian too. So, yeah, they all kind of come in and get a little bit, you know, like, oh my Lord, this is a little bit different. This isn't like the TV cast, but they figure it out pretty quick. And I've had fun with every last one of them. They're all good folks over there at the Big Seven. 7:55, 5 before the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. I want to talk a little bit more about Woody Williams, also about an announcement from President Biden yesterday. And in the next hour, we're going to talk with some Wheeling fire officials about a proposed change to the fire code to make developing buildings easier. My question is going to be, what are you doing to guarantee they are just as safe? It's all coming up here on the Watchdog Morning Show.
Millions plan for retirement online. Estimate your future benefits, apply for retirement, and manage your benefits all from the comfort of your home. And give yourself the freedom to do what you want offline. Social Security's online services help put you in control with secure access to your information anytime, anywhere, allowing you to spend more time with family, friends, or simply just enjoying the day. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
Why? Just think about it. Why is the #1 selling brand of chainsaws not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot? We can give you over 10,000 reasons. That's how many authorized local steel dealers you can find across the country. Visit one and you'll find a range of dependable gas and battery-powered tools, from trimmers to blowers. And you'll find service from experienced professionals. Real Steel. Find yours at steelusa.com. Lowe's and Home Depot are trademarks of their respective companies.
Just 3 words tell you everything you need to know. They tell you why we employ more than 2,000 workers at our factory in Virginia Beach, and why over 10,000 local steel dealers are putting battery power in the hands of Americans. Just 3 words. Made in America. Real Steel. Find yours at steelusa.com. The majority of steel products sold in America are made in America of U.S. and foreign materials. Batteries and chargers are sourced internationally.
Keep up with the ever-changing world of sports all night long. Sports Map Radio is on the Watchdog, FM 98.1, AM 1600.
Great conversation continues now on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
I knew a man, Bojangles, and he danced for you in worn out shoes, silver hair and ragged shirt and baggy pants, the old soft shoe. He jumped so high, jumped so high, and then he lightly touched down.
Mr. Bojangles. This is not, I always think of Sammy Davis Jr. with this. This is not his version, right, Bob?
it is not, and I was going to play it, but it's just too much talking. It just didn't sound as good as the what is this here? Nitty Gritty Dirt Band.
Nitty Gritty Dirt Band?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a good song. I love the song. Sammy Davis Jr. really sells that song, though, because you can almost feel Mr. Bojangles in him when he sings that song. But Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, and it's just a good song all the way around. Did you tell me that CBS Morning News was tribute to Woody Williams as well? Huh?
Yes, I was impressed. They showed the picture of him getting his Medal of Valor, and they spent at least a minute talking about him. I was surprised and impressed.
Very good. All right, just about 8 o'clock here on the Watchdog Morning Show. ABC will cover the world for us. We'll talk to folks in the Wheeling Fire Department, including Fire Chief Blazier, about this proposal the council has to modify, to give options or alternatives to developers who don't want to have the expense of 2 fire exits on every floor. And how do you keep people safe if that's not the case? We'll talk about that next hour. And patriotism at an all-time low. Give you the numbers in a bit as well.
'Cause I drink so big.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. President Biden preparing to speak to reporters at the conclusion of the NATO summit in Madrid. ABC's Cecilia Vega, who's there, has more on plans to build up NATO's military presence in Europe.
NATO is on the verge of this largest expansion in decades, with NATO formally inviting Sweden and Finland to join its ranks. Vladimir Putin has decided to respond to that. He had been opposed to it. He is now warning if NATO sends any military equipment or troops to those countries, quote, Moscow would be forced to respond.
NATO planning to put 300,000 troops on high alert in response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The U.S. also setting up its first permanent military headquarters in Poland. Former White House counsel Pat Cipollone served with a subpoena. The January 6th committee wants to know more about former President Trump's actions on January 6th, including what we learned this week.
White House aide Cassidy Hutchinson is standing by that blockbuster testimony despite getting pushback from the former president himself and some members of his inner circle. And while they are clearly not happy with her testimony, it is notable that they are not challenging some of her core allegations, like that the president knew that some of his supporters were armed and still tried to lead the mob to the Capitol to overturn the election results.
That's ABC News senior White House correspondent Mary Bruce. Nearly 50 million Americans are expected to travel this July 4th holiday weekend. ABC's Stephanie Ramos is at LaGuardia Airport.
Friday is expected to be a very busy day for air travel, especially going into the holiday weekend. Many travelers are bracing for cancellations and delays, and also some off-duty Delta pilots are too. They say they plan to picket starting today over issues that include pay and what they say is the airline's failure to schedule properly, which is leading to cancellations and delays. But Delta says that the action won't impact any flights. We shall see.
Charges now filed against 4 people in connection with the deadly San Antonio migrant smuggling operation. 53 people dying in a sweltering tractor-trailer. This is ABC News.
Dell's Black Friday and July sale is here. Power productivity with a tech refresh, now with up to 45% off top-rated laptops like the XPS, along with our special deals on business desktops with Intel Core processors. Get big savings on the latest servers, storage, monitors, and more with free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Upgrade today by calling 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Good, Mrs. Dubs.
The head groundskeeper at Thad's Golf Course just retired.
We need to find someone in the next 2 weeks. Someone with botany and management experience.
He needs a replacement because the greens are already looking a little rough.
Aeration. They need to know it all.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by interviewing on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Spirit Airlines is giving itself more time to figure out its future. The airline is delaying a shareholder vote on a proposed merger with fellow discount airline Frontier. That was supposed to happen today, but it's been pushed back until July 8th to allow more talks with Frontier and JetBlue, which has put in its own bid for Spirit. For the first time in more than 2 years, China's leader is leaving the country. Xi Jinping arriving in Hong Kong today for celebrations around the 25th anniversary of the British handover of the city. Congress today taking a look at the culture around the tech industry ABC's Justin Finch has details from Washington.
The House Financial Services Committee is calling witnesses top-level investment and financial tech executives who also happen to be women and people of color. The committee says it wants to understand hardships marginalized groups often face seeking funding from big-name investors to launch companies, noting nearly 78% of venture capital-backed founders identify as white, close to 18% as Asian, with data showing Middle Eastern, Latino, and Black founders fall into single-digit percentages. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
People looking to top gamble a bit over the holiday weekend, maybe out of luck in Atlantic City. 5 casinos are facing the prospect of a workers' strike. 4 casinos could see strikes beginning tomorrow. A 5th could see workers walk out on Sunday. Negotiations are scheduled to continue today. This is ABC News.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Sherry Preston, ABC News.
I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network. You may soon notice police that are not state troopers patrolling Ohio highways. Amanda Fay with ONN affiliate WTOL-TV in Toledo explains.
This is because township officers will be able to enforce laws on highways in their jurisdiction. The bill was signed this past Friday. Officials say this will help stop crime on interstates when it goes into effect in 3 months. Officials add that law enforcement across the board are having trouble finding people who want to get into the career, and this law helps everyone. I'm Amanda Fay.
The White House is expanding the monkeypox vaccine in hopes of slowing down the outbreak. Angela Ann with WBNS TV in Columbus has more.
There are more than 300 confirmed cases in the U.S. Ohio has 2 reported cases, with 1 announced earlier this week in Columbus. The White House announced a plan to send out nearly 300,000 monkeypox vaccines in coming months, and those will go out to people who are most at risk. I'm Angela Ann.
A pilot is safe after a small plane crashed last night in Medina County. It happened at the Sky Park Airport near Wadsworth, west of Akron. The pilot was a 78-year-old man from Dalton, about 20 miles south of the airport. The FAA will investigate. Kings Island, north of Cincinnati, says it'll have a 15-minute fireworks show each evening from tomorrow through Monday, July 4th. Kings Island is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. For more state news, go to ONNradio.com. I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network.
Thank you for riding with the Watchdog. Live and local, just the way you like it.
Whether it's dinner for a special occasion, a quick lunch, or happy hour fun, the Highlands has you covered with nearly 24 eateries. Bubba's Burgers, Primanti Brothers, or Five Guys. Bob Evans, Cheddar's, Texas Roadhouse, or Olive Garden. All just minutes away off I-70 on the hilltop at the Highlands.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster with a look at your local weather forecast for your Thursday. Mostly sunny skies, a hot one, a daytime high near 89 degrees, the overnight low of 65 under partly cloudy skies. You'll see clouds, some sunshine, and the threat of a scattered shower around for your Friday with highs in the mid to upper 80s. Have yourself a great one, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Live and local for the Ohio Valley, the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
Oh, it's so nice to be with you. I love all the things you say and do. And it's so nice to hear you say you're gonna please me in every way. Honey, I got the notion you're causing commotion in my soul.
It is always nice to be with you every day here on the Watchdog Morning Show, Monday through Friday from 7 to 10. Bob Slider and I gather together and share our thoughts with you, and you share your thoughts with us. And we have, where's my coffee? We have our coffee together here, or whatever it is you might be drinking in the morning. You if you're wrapping up third shift, maybe you're having a mimosa or something. I don't know. Or you're on summer break, have yourself a nice Bloody Mary. That's okay. Actually, Bob, Bloody Mary doesn't sound too bad right now.
Well, Howard, it's 8 o'clock.
But we'll have. Come on, that's Bloody Mary time. What time do you have a Bloody Mary? You don't have Bloody Marys at 2 in the afternoon. You have them in the morning. That's what they're there for. When I was on the cruise ship, when I was cruising, my friend and I, Mike Welling and I, we would go to the bar as soon as it opened, usually around 6:30, have our first Bloody Mary of the day. That's the way you greet the day on vacation. Don't you know that?
We're not on vacation yet, Howard.
Oh, see, I consider every day vacation day.
Well, there you go. I'm working.
There you go. It's going to be a great day today. Pretty much like we had the last several days. A little bit warmer. The heat's going to be a bit of an issue today, but it is our last full day of sunshine. Then we'll start to see some rain and clouds coming in after today. But today, sunshine, blue skies, going to be upper 80s, maybe pushing 90, but certainly the upper 80s during the day today. Also going to feel sticky. The humidity will be with us. Now, tomorrow, we start to get some clouds, start to get a little bit of rain, maybe a light shower or two. Full forecast you just heard a minute or two ago. We'll update it again in a bit. It's warming up already, though. 65 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. 65, pardon me, here at the home studios in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling. And 63 degrees at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Where are we going and what are we doing throughout the day today, and where have we been for that matter? We spent a good bit of last hour talking about this question. How does Donald Trump compare to Richard Nixon? These are probably the two standout presidents who have a lot of negative attachment to them in our contemporary lifetime. Nixon with Watergate, Trump with the insurrection and the attempt to steal the election, I think. So who's worse, Nixon or Trump? Who will be remembered by history as the worst president? I'm not saying the single worst like at the bottom of the whole list, but between the two of them, who will be ranked as worst? Your text on that, if you'd like to, at 304-214-1600. And is the insurrection, is the attempt to overthrow democracy by Trump worse than Watergate, or was Watergate worse? Just having some fun with this. Maybe that's a bad phrase to use for two horrible events, but share your text, share your thoughts. 304-214-1600 is the text line. 304-214-1600, or you can use the phone line, 304-232-8255. 304-232-8255. Bob, yesterday we talked about how, you have two on-air characters. You're Bob Slider, of course, executive producer, and you began as Powerful Pierre, so there's kind of that, you're known by two different approaches to our listeners.
Yes.
Got a text here that says, Pierre would have had a Bloody Mary. Bob, not so much.
I'd have had at least a Bud Light.
Yeah, there you go. All right, elsewhere on the show today, at the Supreme Court this week, they blurred the lines a bit more between church and state, and outspoken Congresswoman Lauren Boebert does not think there should be any line at all. She says the church should rule the government. We'll talk about that coming up later on this morning. And on the eve of America's Independence Day weekend, patriotism is at an all-time low. In fact, it's staggering to me, the percentage of people who say they are patriotic compared to those who say they are not. The percentage of people who say they're proud of their country compared to the percentage of people who say they are not. I will share with you this new Gallup poll, including a look at why some of the people say they're not as proud of their country as they used to be. And coming up in a minute, we'll talk to a couple of Wheeling fire officials about proposed change to the building code to help developers be able to retrofit buildings, develop buildings a little bit better and faster and more efficiently. But I want to know, is it still going to be safe from fire, in a fire sense? We will talk about that coming up in just a minute here on the Watchdog Morning Show. It's 8:12. I'm glad you're along for the conversational ride.
Hey there, Dave Weekley here. Metro News Hotline presents what's trending in sports, music, movies, tech, television, and more from a Mountain State point of view. Renowned local and national guests pepper the daily lineup with authoritative insights and commentary on a wide variety of topics from West Virginia high school sports to the financial markets. Join the fun. Every day, Coop and I dip into irreverent discussions with calls, texts, tweets, the question of the day, and the always popular In or Out. Metro News Hotline, weekdays from 3 to 6 on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy inherited properties, vacant homes, rentals, commercial properties, and apartment buildings. Give us a call today to speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
We are compassionate.
We are focused.
We are confident.
We are dependable.
We are resilient.
We are skilled.
We are empathetic.
We are knowledgeable.
We are respectful.
We are here.
For you and your family.
We are close to home. We are
WVU Medicine.
Once again, Toyota is the best resale value brand according to Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com. So stop waiting and check out a new Camry, available with all-wheel drive and a 24-valve V6 engine, delivering an impressive 301 horsepower. Or check out a stylish Venza with an all-hybrid powertrain and 40 miles per gallon. Visit buyatoyota.com and reserve yours today. Toyota, let's go places.
Dominating both AM and FM, the Watchdog is AM 1600 and 1370, FM 98.1 and 97.7. We are the Watchdog.
Cybersecurity attacks can cripple and even force a small business to close. Does your organization have a focused approach to being cyber resilient? If you can't answer yes, you should contact Omni Strategic Technologies to help you identify the steps to protect your data and reputation from the very real cyber threats that exist today. Schedule your free consultation by calling Omni at 304-242-7600 or online at omniperforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only cybersecurity firm that the Watchdog trusts. Watch out. He could climb on his soapbox at any time. The Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues.
Eight 65 at the airport, 65 here, 63 at the Robinson Auto Group Studios, downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. On a beautiful day today, our final thoroughly beautiful day for the week. A weekend, a little bit messier, but not too bad. Earlier this week, newspaper had a story. We talked with Mayor Elliott about it briefly. New ordinance introduced this week to Wheeling City Council to amend essentially the building code to address the issue of a required number of exits from a building. As I understand it, there are 2 exits required now, but the idea is to give some flexibility to developers working with the building and fire department to come up with other alternatives. Now, I am one who almost died in a fire, so fire safety is paramount to me. And I wanted to pursue this just a little bit further. So I invited Wheeling Fire Chief Blazier and Assistant Chief Jameson to come in this morning and talk to us about it. Gentlemen, thanks for coming in. I really appreciate it. Good morning.
Thanks for having us.
Good morning. Talk to me about this. What is this change going to be, assuming council passes it? And I would assume they would. It seems like they are going to. What exactly is going to happen?
Well, we've been working together with the Development Committee on the development of downtown buildings and so forth. And some of the developers, the way the original code was written, it says that we require 2 exits, which we still thoroughly agree with. But they felt that the way developers read that it kind of gives a concrete thing that there's no flexibility and that it may prohibit some people from looking into different options because they feel they don't have the options. So we added some verbiage, and believe me, it took us some time to go over the facts and look up a lot of facts because as you alluded to in your entry, fire safety is the paramount. And I think everyone on the development committee agrees with that we want to do things safely. And Wheeling holds, we have an array of building constructions, different terrains that don't lend a cookie cutter type of approach to fire safety. So basically what we did was we added verbiage to the current ordinance, not eliminating the 2 exits, but the possibility of if there's a way that we can exceed other safety factors that will make the building safer, we may be able to look at things. And we're not saying that in 100% of the time we're going to be able to eliminate those 2 exits, but we may be able to make some accommodations to make things a little easier to achieve.
When I hear required 2 exits, I think a front door and a back door, or a front door and a fire escape, something like that, an elevator and stairs in the back. I mean, that's the concept I have in my head of required 2 exits. First of all, that's really what we're talking about when we say required 2 exits. But then, folks, what would be the options? I mean, what alternatives conceivably, and obviously you'd have to wait till somebody proposes it, I guess, but what conceivably could replace that? How could you achieve the same purpose without those 2 exits?
There's different ways that you can achieve a higher level of safety. One of them is sprinkler systems within the building. Sprinkler systems, if one sprinkler head goes off, they're 92% effective. If 2 sprinkler heads go off, that jumps up to 98% that they control the fire until we arrive to take care of the incident. With the suppression of the fire, with the control of it, you have less carbon monoxide generated, you have less hydrogen cyanide generated, less of the poisons that we're breathing in, and that's actually what causes most of the fire deaths is the smoke and the poison that's in it. So sprinkler systems are a big safety factor that can help to reduce other requirements. Some of the other ones are travel distance, common paths of travel, the way that the buildings are constructed. If they're constructed in a separated manner where once I get through a fire door into a safe area, safe exit, that exit should carry me all the way to an exit discharge, which is just the door to the sidewalk or the back door of the building.
So again, and I'm guessing there could be other options maybe that somebody might propose that you'd look at and go, that makes some sense. Guys, does this, I mean, I heard you say, Chief, you worked aggressively with the development committee to come up with these ideas. I don't want to phrase this. Are you satisfied with this alternative though? Or as a someone who's concerned about fire safety, do you still get nervous? Does this make you nervous at all? Maybe I'll ask that question.
No, and we wouldn't have proposed this if it had. The verbiage in the ordinance, we are still going to evaluate all of these plans on a case-by-case basis. Excuse me. And we'll still have all of the jurisdiction that we had originally to either approve or deny these plans. And I think everybody at the table understands that as this progresses and people are looking at buildings, they'll supply their life safety plans. And that's what Chief Jameson does with his group. He reviews the life safety plans, and those are going to be based on what the building's going to be used for. So unfortunately, when a lot of folks come to the Bureau of Fire Prevention's office, they have a building, but they are not sure maybe what they're going to use it for. Of course, depending on what you're going to use the building for is depending on how stringent the fire safety codes are. Of course, if you're going to live in there or put a lot of people in there, like an assembly, like a church, theater.
Right. The higher the life safety issue, the more stringent the requirements become.
And a lot of times what our department will suggest is that if you're not sure what you want to do with your building, if you're going to have the building opened up and doing remodeling, prepare it for the most stringent.
Right.
And then you can change your mind on what you're going to use it for, and you'll still be safe.
And we have had buildings like that where they've added the sprinkler system, they've added the second exit, and then the developer came to us and said, I've changed the use, the way I want to use this building, and it was easy to say, yes, that's approved with some minor changes to some door hardware was all that was required after that. So he prepared his building ahead of time and was able to do basically anything he wanted in it.
Chief Jameson, how much, in general, how much pushback do you get when you talk to developers or people who want to do some work in their building, and you have to talk to them about, well, you need to do this, you need to do that? Look, you know and I know on the street we always hear, I'll tell you what, I don't know why they have to make it so hard for people to do business. How much pushback do you get?
Sometimes you get more from some developers and some less. We recently had a design professional come in from Pittsburgh. We mentioned second exit. He turned a page on his plans, and he says, I have that drawn out. So he was prepared for that. Some of them, they've shown me just simple sketches, not even the full drawings for the building, and I was prepared to approve their drawing just on their sketches. They had them done so well. So we do get a little bit of pushback. Now, the development committee has put some funding to improve life safety in these buildings, and that can be very helpful. The second exiting is definitely a place that it can be used. Sprinkler systems is another place that funding can be used if it's approved. So, they had the foresight to. These buildings are challenged. They're older. The construction, the topography that Chief Blazer mentioned, they're unique, and they've provided a way to make them more useful.
Or maybe you don't know, but I sit on the Planning Commission, and I know that what we have found very often is when out-of-town developers come in and bring plans to us, they get it, and local folks sometimes are more complaining, just because I guess they're not as used to it. At least that's been the experience I have as a member of the Planning Commission. As you said, sometimes people come from out of town, they go, here's our design, what do you want us to do? And we go, no, you got it pretty well figured out, because they've dealt with this kind of stuff before.
Yeah. It just depends. We have a lot of good developers and designers here locally as well. And they're well aware of the codes. They all do a really good job of providing it. And we do try to work with them. We try to be flexible as we can within the code, and they're aware of that. And they do a nice job. We have several different situations that we've been able to work with the developers and the architects to get these buildings in use.
We have so many old buildings in the city of Wheeling, older buildings, and actually old buildings, I guess. And a lot of them have been allowed to, I won't say deteriorate, but a lot of them are not up to current code. So the hardest part for many developers is to take an old building and bring it up to snuff. And then sometimes folks go, well, the building's been here for a long time. Why can't we just leave it the way it is? If this building has been operated this way in the past, why I'm a new developer, why do I have to make it different now?
Sometimes there's a change in the use, there's a change in the occupancy. Once they reach a certain level of remodeling, then they have to come up to the new code. The NFPA does provide a provision for existing buildings as well as new buildings, and there's different thresholds as to which code you have to follow.
So new buildings may meet a different standard or somewhat different standard than older buildings? New construction than old renovated construction?
Right. Some of the existing construction can remain as is, unless they get to a certain point with the remodel where they're doing so much work that they just have to bring everything up to the new standard.
My audience hears this story all the time, for literally for decades, but you may know this. The old radio station I worked at burned down, and the day before the fire, I was arranging my office, and my office was in the back of the building, and I had put a huge desk in front of the back door. We never used the back door. And one of the owners came in and said, "You got to move that." And I said, "Oh, come on, that's too hard. There's no place to put it. What do you want me to do?" He goes, "You got to move it. That's against the fire code. It's dangerous." The very next day, there was a fire in the building, burned the building down. And if I hadn't had that back door to get out of, I would have literally been burned to a crisp. I wouldn't be here today. So this is why I get really, really concerned when I hear about any kind of change to fire codes. To me, they are paramount. That, fire safety needs to be first and foremost, over convenience, over efficiency, and frankly, in my mind, over development. So I want to get you guys in here to make sure that with this change in code, we will still put fire safety first.
Yeah, and we couldn't agree with that more. We wrestled with changing the verbiage on this ordinance for quite some time, but I think all of us on the committee agree that life safety is the paramount. One thing that I was researching some things on NFPA on the internet while we were looking at this, and one of the folks from NFPA was on there, and they said something that I totally agree with, and that's if you and your spouse are going to go out for a nice evening on the town and you're going to go see a show and have a few drinks and dinner, you don't think about, when I go into this theater, if it catches on fire, how am I going to get out? Or what life safety effects are in place? That's our job. So in order for us to lay our heads on our pillows at night and rest comfortably, we have to know that we're doing the best to protect the citizens and visitors to Wheeling to keep them safe.
And just one addition to that, it's not only the public that we're protecting, it's our personnel that are going into these buildings when an accident does happen.
Good point.
So we want to make it as safe as possible for them as well.
Yeah, again, it's something that I've been hypersensitive to ever since we had the big fire. And honestly, I'm sure I'm not a normal person. Well, I know I'm not a normal person, but even in terms of this, when I walk into any building, a new building, like you say, a restaurant, I do look immediately to what are the fire exits, how can you get out? Once burned, literally, you're much more sensitive to that kind of thing. So I'm one who pays attention to that.
I drive my family crazy.
You guys are out there to do it because most people don't, and most people probably don't need to. We just assume that you're going to make sure things are safe. So, guys, tell me again how this process will work then. Assuming council approves this, which I'm pretty sure they will. I'm a new developer. I want to renovate a building, and I come to you and say, what do I need to do? Tell me what happens at that point.
First, it begins with a phone call to our office. Call the Bureau of Fire Prevention, call the building codes officials, set up a meeting where we can walk through the building and discuss your plan. Have some idea, this is how I want to use it, this is what I want to do in this building, this is how I want to renovate it, and we can give you some of the code issues that are going to be required. Then you would present your plan, we would review it, and if there's any questions during that review period, that's when we would offer suggestions, or, yes, this meets the code, no, this particular part of it doesn't meet the code, and then it gets resubmitted, and we work through it. But it all starts with that phone call. Have us look at it with you first.
I'm not exactly sure how the current code reads, so I'm speculating a little bit. But so I'm a developer, and I come and I say, I see where I'm required to have 2 exits, and people have suggested I need a fire escape. A fire escape is too expensive. So you would then say, under the new verbiage, you would then say, well, there are some other things that you could do. Let's talk about X, Y, Z. I mean, then the conversation begins. Is that right?
That's right, and those issues could be separation of the exits, separation of the occupancies, again, what you're going to use it for. There are cases where the way you want to use the building, it requires 2 exits, and there's no changing that. If you do additional life safety provisions, sometimes the other code requirements can be relaxed. And we do have cases, locally where that has been able to happen.
And the beauty of this program, the beauty of this program is that the incentive program is going to allow some funding to help folks bring these buildings up to fire safety codes. So if we cannot allow a accommodation, then there is some funding going to be made available for them to help meet that goal.
Yeah, the carrot's always better than the stick, let's be honest about it.
Yeah, it is.
So, both of you guys, are you comfortable that, forget this new ordinance, just in general, are you comfortable that we have a fairly fire-safe city? Do you have in your own head, I won't ask you to name anything, do you have in your own head some places that you're worried about?
We worry about all of them. That's why we look at each building. The water line project that came through downtown added fire lines to most of the buildings along Main and Market Street, which will help defray the cost of adding sprinklers. Doors and ways to get out are one of our favorite things. Sprinklers are a very close second. Alarm systems. There's a lot of things that the Development Committee has put this funding in place for that can really improve life safety.
Guys, before I let you go, I want to shift gears just for a quick second. You got to be excited about the possibility, not possibility, the reality of a new firehouse coming soon, new fire station coming soon.
Absolutely. We're hoping to be breaking ground sometime here in July. It's been a long time coming, a lot of planning, a lot of thanks to our public officials that have made this happen. So it's going to be exciting times here in the next 12 to 18 months while we're getting things prepared and getting ready to move in.
Council just continued to work to find ways. They hit several roadblocks along the way and kept looking for, a detour that they could get to getting the new building done. And now you're there. I do understand, I guess the bids came in a bit high, so you had to modify a little bit of the original plans. Is that right, Chief?
Correct. We made some changes that were basically cosmetic in nature. The footprint of the building is still remaining the same. We're going to have the same functionality of the building as we had before. We were able to make some changes to save a little bit to get us to the number we needed to be to make the project happen without sacrificing the functionality of the building.
Well, as we've been talking about all along, functionality is the most important thing. On the other hand, I got to say, again, the Planning Commission approved the original plans, and I looked at those in depth. It's a really well-designed building. I love the look of it. It really helps us, I think, to I don't know, spruce up is the right word, that neighborhood up there. I think it'll be a great addition to the community. It'll make your lives a whole lot easier, not just more efficient, but I think just easier. And I know in talking to the police chief about getting the new headquarters that when you have a new and better place, morale improves a lot too.
Yeah, of course, yes. Yeah, it's going to be...
Guys, I appreciate you coming in this morning. I thank you very much. You've laid some of my concerns to rest. As I said, I'm a guy that's really super sensitive to fire safety, but sounds like you've worked out a situation where everybody will have a chance to offer options, and fire safety still stays number one. I hope that's the truth. Fire safety stays number one. But if we can find ways to help people do it more efficiently or in a different way and still see development, then that's the old win-win situation, right?
Correct.
Guys, thanks for coming in. I very much appreciate it. I appreciate the work you guys do, and someday we'll have you back. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you for having us. Have a great day.
All right. 8:37, 23 till the hour. Time to check some news for you. Over the Big 7, Stephanie is hard at work. Good morning, Stephanie.
Good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm Stephanie Grinley with your 7 News headlines for June 30th. West Virginia is grieving the loss of one of its most outstanding residents. Herschel Woody Williams passed away peacefully yesterday at the age of 98. Williams was the last surviving Medal of Honor recipient from World War II. After the war, he served in the Marine Corps Reserve and worked at the VA for decades helping other veterans. He launched a foundation dedicated to serving Gold Star families, and a Navy ship was even named the USS Woody Williams in his honor. But Woody was always a man that demonstrated classic humility and gratitude. 4 local business owners competed against one another yesterday at Wheeling Heritage's Show of Hands. Last night's big winner was Libby Granby, who owns Table 304. Table 304 creates grazing boards for large and small events in Wheeling. They also operate a full-service coffee shop with grab-and-go food options. Granby says she will use the winnings to obtain a commercial-grade food processor to increase the business's efficiency. In national news, R. Kelly has been sentenced to 30 years in prison for using his superstardom to subject young fans to systematic sexual abuse. The singer and songwriter was convicted of racketeering and sex trafficking last year. U.S. District Judge Ann Donnelly imposed the sentence at a courthouse in Brooklyn. The sentence caps a slow-motion fall for Kelly, who was 55. That was a look at your 7 News headlines. I'm Stephanie Grinley. Have a great Thursday, everyone.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash, powered by The Score on the Watchdog. I'm John Thayer. Baseball action yesterday. The Pittsburgh Pirates scored 3 runs in the top of the 7th inning, and they held on to beat the Washington Nationals 8-7 in D.C. 16 hits for Washington in the losing effort. Brian Reynolds was 3 for 5 for the Pirates. He smashed 3 home runs, driving in 6 runs to help the Pirates to the victory. Josh Bell had 3 hits for the Washington Nationals. He was 3 for 3 with 2 runs scored in the loss. The Orioles had 3 errors in Seattle. They lost to the Mariners on the road 9-3. 11 hits for the Mariners in the ball game. The Orioles now 35-42. The Reds lost on the road in Chicago. They fell to the Cubs. For lightning fast sports updates as they happen, download the free Score app today. I'm John Thayer with the Sports Flash, powered by The Score on the Watchdog.
Macy's 4th of July sale has everything you need to make a splash at the barbecue, with great deals like 50 to 60% off swimwear for all, and dry off with plush Charter Club beach towels for $40. Plus, get 40% off almost all sandals now during the Great Sandal Sale. And Macy's Star Rewards members can earn rewards even faster during Star Money bonus days. See Macys.com/Star Rewards. Savings off regular sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
Blue Star medicated ointment gets 5-star reviews from our loyal users for fast relief of the pain and itch of almost any skin irritation.
Blue Star soothes insect bites and fungal infections.
It really works on the summer rashes I get every year.
I had psoriasis on my elbows. Blue Star worked wonders.
Amazing stuff. Smear a bit on and the itch is gone.
Look for the white box with the Blue Star in the first aid section. Feel Blue Star work fast or your money back. Cybersecurity attacks can cripple and even force a small business to close. Does your organization have a focused approach to being cyber resilient? If you can't answer yes, you should contact Omni Strategic Technologies to help you identify the steps to protect your data and reputation from the very real cyber threats that exist today. Schedule your free consultation by calling Omni at 304-242-7600 or online at omniperforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only cybersecurity firm that the Watchdog trusts.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. Beware of telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you. Callers threatening you with arrest or other legal action and demanding money are not from us. If you receive a call like this, hang up, do not provide them with any form of payment or information. Report the call at oig.ssa.gov.
Hey there, Dave Weekly here. Metro News Hotline presents what's trending in sports, music, movies, tech, television, and more from a Mountain State point of view. Renowned local and national guests pepper the daily lineup with authoritative insights and commentary on a wide variety of topics from West Virginia high school sports to the financial markets. Join the fun. Every day, Coop and I dip into irreverent discussions with calls, texts, tweets, the question of the day, and the always popular in or out. Metro News Hotline, weekdays from 3 to 6 on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
July weekend, Independence Day weekend coming up here in the Ohio Valley. And on the eve of American Independence Day, the day we had our freedom declared, patriotism in this country has hit an all-time low. I have a Gallup poll I want to share with you a bit later on about why people are not as proud of their country now as it was before, as they were before. We had talked a week or so ago, Bob, about what is patriotism. Well, right now, a lot of people aren't patriotic. That's coming up a bit later on. Stick around for that. Currently 65 degrees, Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. 67 here at my home studios. 66 degrees at the Highlands, and 67 at the Robinson Auto Group Studios, downtown Wheeling, in the heart of the Ohio Valley. We are looking for another nice, delightful day. Sunshine, blue skies, a little bit warmer, might be a little bit hot for some of you. Pushing 90, calling it 87, 88 for the high, but pushing 90 today. More humidity as well, so a little bit stickier. Still going to be a great day. It is our final day of sunshine before we get into a cloudy and rainy couple of days. But tail end of the weekend should be okay, and your Independence Day should be okay as well. Bob, when is your birthday? What day is it?
Oh, geez, Howard, you had to go there. It's Sunday. Sunday, Howard.
Which is the 4th.
No.
It is the 4th.
No. Get your calendar out. I don't think I'm wrong.
I don't have a calendar.
I can tell. I'm pretty sure. Wait a minute. What's the date? Today is the last day of June.
Now I got to look it up.
All right. Today's the last day of June.
You're right. Monday. You're right. Monday is the 4th. So, all right. So you have your birthday before Independence Day.
Maybe.
You can be depressed on Sunday and throw a party on Monday?
Well, I don't know. This is what I told myself. I said, look, yeah, you're going to be 60. You're lucky. So keep that thought in mind. And do something that you did when you were younger. So I told my boys, look, let's break out the badminton set. I'll look for the croquet set. Maybe, we'll just try to enjoy the day, and I'll try to think young, Howard. It might be tough.
Hey, that's a great.
But I'll be thinking.
You know what? That's a phenomenal idea. That is a phenomenal idea. Go back and play yard games and
might play a little wiffle ball, Howard.
I think that's a great idea. Speaking of experience, 60 ain't that bad. 69's not so good. But 60 ain't that bad. Do you do any 4th of July, given that it's so close to your birthday, do you do any big 4th of July parties? Do you do hot dogs and burgers, or do you go out someplace or meet with friends or anything
Well,
like that?
God bless them. My sister-in-laws, my mother-in-law, they all try to get me to come down and to acknowledge that, yes, it is a celebration. It is my birthday. But you know how antisocial I am, Howard, especially when I have something that's really depressing me. So I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. I'm going to try not to be in bed, though. I'm going to try to get up and not to be so down.
Can't you be enticed by some extra hamburgers or something?
Well, hamburgers. It might be the Bud Light. I don't know. I'm due. I lost my old drinking buddies. Never see Shane. You're retired. I don't have a lot of help in that regard, so I just might drink a case of Bud Light by myself, or at least attempt.
Well, you said do things you used to do when you were younger.
Right. Yes. I'm going to keep that theme in mind. I don't know if my wife's going to go along with that, but we'll check that out later.
And that also would be like when you were younger.
Yes. Yes.
At least I speak from experience. I mean, how many times were you and I out in the old days, pal? Neither Terry nor Nancy were particularly happy about that. You know what I'm saying? So it'd be, again, reliving the old days.
That's my theme this weekend.
Have a case of Bud Light and get your wife angry.
That's right. For old time's sake.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to reflect back on the interview we just did with, it's 13 to the hour, by the way, here on the Watchdog Morning Show, and the text line and phone line are open. I try to encourage I pass these numbers along to you as much as I can, because I love to have you call in at 304-232-8255, 304-232-TALK. We'd love to talk to you, and also you can text in at 304-214-1600. Want to get you on the phone lines. Here's a text for you, pal. Bob, it's better to be old than dead.
I heard that.
Yeah. I want to go back and reflect on the interview with the chief and assistant chief. I'm very, very serious. I think everybody knows that. I am super sensitive to fire regulations. It is not a joke. Back when the old radio station burned down, if I had not had the back exit, which the day before I personally had blocked off, it wasn't my company, it wasn't the fire, it was me. I blocked it off to make my life easier because I thought, what the heck? What possible need do we ever use for that back door? It leads out into the forest, and oh, for heaven's sakes. And if that had not been unblocked, I would literally be dead. The fires came from the front part of our building, came working its way through into the back part of our building, and I was literally, flames were licking at my hiney as I got out that back door. So I am dramatically concerned about fire safety. When a new building was designed after the fire, and I looked at the plans, I said, guys, you have not come up with 2 exits from the studio. If we're in the studio and a fire comes from the front, we can't get out. And I insisted that they redesign it, and they simply designed bigger windows, Bob, so we could really get out the window. But I'm super sensitive. I walk into a building, walk into a restaurant or someplace, I look to see where the fire exits, how do I get out? So when I heard the story this week in the paper first, and then we had the mayor on that day, so we talked to Mayor Elliott about it, that council was going to loosen the fire safety requirements for 2 exits from every building and every floor, I thought, boy, this makes me nervous. So I really wanted to talk to the fire chief and his chief inspector, Chief Jameson. And I thought that, I think they explained it pretty well to me. It sounds to me like they're still putting fire safety first. They're looking for ways to be adaptable, but not, what's the word I'm looking for here? They're not just going to give in to developers. They're going to have to be fire safe. So I thought they explained it pretty well. I don't know if you did or not, Bob. Do you think they were satisfying in the answers?
No, it was outstanding. I hope everybody was listening because it's important stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. There will be flexibility, but only up to a point. You can't not follow fire codes.
And what I liked about him, Howard, there was no air. It was like we try to work with everybody, but this is important, and you have to face it. It's very important. But they try to work with you. They made that perfectly clear.
And that's what I wanted to hear. But they said everything I wanted to hear, which was we will work with these developers, any developer, anytime, any place. We'll do the best we can, but we will never sacrifice fire safety. If we can find a way to achieve this without the hard, fast line of the code, we'll do it, but we're not going to sacrifice, to use my analogy, we're not going to let you put the desk in front of the door, right? So I was really pleased with them,
I thought you were going to go with I watch Chicago Fire every night, guys. I would love to be a fireman. I thought you were going to go that way, Howard.
You know me too well, because I actually was thinking that. I was going to say, guys, I have a few questions because I've become a bit of an amateur fire expert now because I watch Chicago Fire every single night. But I didn't go there. But I actually thought about that. Mark is with us. Good morning, Mark.
Bobby, don't be so depressed. How old are you going to be?
I'm going to be 60 years old, Mark. It's kind of hard not to be depressed. I mean, that's old. That's a big number.
Think about it. It could be worse. You could be like Howie.
No, he's not that far ahead of me. I can see him in the distance.
You don't got a cane. You're not like, you ain't. You got a lot of good years in front of you. Howie,
yeah, but Mark, I remember Howard at 60. He didn't have a cane then. This all came. What about Howard? 65, 66ish?
Yes, about that. Yeah, right, exactly. By the way, Mark, I'm right here. I mean, you're talking about me like I'm.
Pierre, I thought you said we weren't on.
No, he's here with us.
Oh, shucks. Yeah, boy, that's a good birthday number there, Bob. Hey, Bobby, just think if that fire happened now. I don't think them flames would laughing on his ass. I don't know if he could get out,
Come on.
I mean, really, you think you could get out that window now, Howie?
No, they get fire protection out there. Nancy stands by with a bucket of water just in case.
Wait a minute.
Bob,
wait a minute, Mark. Bob, why do you think that my wife is always here to protect me? Huh?
Because
why
I
do you seem
know
to
her.
think that-
She is
Oh,
your
well.
protector. She's everything to you. Listen, like you said earlier, I know you, and I know you real well.
But could it be to lock the doors so the firemen can't get in?
She would never do that.
How many times have you Peter off there? You just said you and Bob would really,
Yeah.
get a little.
Yeah, there was a time when, yeah.
Well, you
And,
married 105 years. Women don't forget.
We're coming up on 47. 47, is that right? No, that's not right.
Well, you better get it right, Howard.
Oh, boy. We were married in 77. It's 40-some years. And I can't do the math real quick.
45.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's 45 years. As I often say, yeah, I've just been told that from the other room here. It was a very bad glare I just got from my wife as she held up 45. But you know what I say? We've been married for 45 years, and it's 37 of the best years of my life.
I'd ask Nancy how many of the best years it was. Let's see what her answer is.
Yeah.
What
Well,
is
she's never, when I always do that little joke, she never responds and says like, oh no, honey, you know, they've all been wonderful. She never says that. I don't understand that.
Well, just a hint from your old Uncle Mark, you know?
All right, Mark, gotta run. Thanks for your call.
You're getting the glare?
60. Yeah.
I love the glare.
Oh, you know the glare. Oh, yeah, no. That door whipped open. Choom. 45. Okay, I know that. I just couldn't do the math. I knew the year. I knew the year we were married. I just couldn't do the math real quick.
Want to take a break so you can apologize?
Please, let's do that. I need to go deglare her.
Hey there, Dave Weekly here. Metro News Hotline presents what's trending in sports, music, movies, tech, television, and more from a Mountain State point of view. Renowned local
It's the
and
summer's
national
hottest
guests
party,
pepper
the
daily
Circus
lineup with
Saints and Sinners
authoritative
Party on the...
insights and commentary on a wide variety of topics from West Virginia high school sports to the financial markets. Join the fun. Every day, Coop and I dip into irreverent discussions with calls, texts, tweets, the question of the day, and the always popular In or Out. Metro News Hotline, weekdays from 3 to 6 on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Every weeknight at 6 p.m., join the voice of the Mountaineers, Tony Caridi, on The Watchdog. Tony informs and entertains WVU fans with the latest Mountaineer sports news. If it happens in the world of gold and blue, Tony knows about it and shares it with you. Sportsline, weeknights at 6 on The Watchdog.
It's the summer's hottest party, the Circus Saints and Sinners Party on the Plaza, presented by Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. The fun happens Saturday, July 9th at the Plaza on Market in downtown Wheeling. Enjoy food trucks, beer and wine, and all-day live music starring Pittsburgh's No Bad Juju and Cleveland Rockers Trailer Park Ninjas, with special guest Spinning Jenny. Get tickets at partyontheplaza.org.
Broadcasting from the Ohio Valley, talking about the Ohio Valley. We're live and local. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
I'd like to see the world for once, all standing hand in hand, and hear them echo through the hills for peace throughout the land.
I'd like to buy the world a Coke. Isn't that what they say? 57 after the hour. It's 3 minutes till the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. You know, Bob, I get thinking about what you're saying, and, 60 is not bad, but, 69, Let me tell you, I'm looking at my calendar for the next 2 weeks. 3 in-hospital tests, 4 doctor's appointments, and 2 rounds of blood work.
Yeah, you guys are right. I got nothing to be depressed about.
But you're at 60. 60 is you got time. You got time to before all of this kicks in and becomes an issue. All right, gang. Next hour, I want to talk about this patriotism poll. I've held it all morning long because it really is depressing to me. New Gallup poll out. Pride in America is at an all-time low. We are heading into the holiday weekend, Independence Day weekend, and patriotism, if you will, pride in our country is at an all-time low. I want to talk about what the poll says, what the people say to the poll, and I want to get your reaction to this and your reflection on this and how you feel about America today. I want to take some time to get into that coming up in the next hour of the program. Also got a few tidbits about the 4th of July I want to get to, and hopefully we'll have time to talk about Lauren Boebert. What a nutbag she is. She says the church is supposed to direct the government and tell them what to do. And I say, doesn't that sound like the Taliban to you? We'll talk about all of this coming up next hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Bob Slider behind the board, pushing buttons and trying his best to keep me under control. My wife in the other room is still glaring at me. I didn't de-glare her very well. And ABC is here right now to cover the world on the Watchdog Morning Show for a Thursday.
Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. President Biden speaking to reporters in Madrid.
I think we can all agree that this has been a historic NATO summit.
The NATO summit is now over, the president being asked about its expanded military presence in Europe in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
I told Putin that if he invaded Ukraine, NATO would not only get stronger, but would get more united. And he would see democracies in the world stand up and oppose his aggression and defend the rules-based order. And that's exactly what we're seeing today.
He is expected to be asked about news back home, including the Supreme Court's abortion decision last week and upcoming decisions that will be released this morning, including one involving immigration.
The justices will decide the fate of President Trump's Remain in Mexico policy. That 2019 policy sent most asylum seekers at the border back to Mexico to await their claims in U.S. courts. The Biden administration has tried to end that policy. Texas is suing to say it needs to remain in place.
ABC's Devin Dwyer. Another key decision upcoming today will determine how aggressively the EPA can regulate greenhouse gas emissions from power plants. Also today at the High Court, one justice leaves and another steps up to the bench. At the court, here's ABC's Terry Moran.
Ketanji Brown Jackson becomes the first black woman to serve on the Supreme Court. She'll take two oaths, the constitutional oath to be administered by Chief Justice John Roberts and the judicial oath to be administered by her mentor, Justice Stephen Breyer, who's retiring. She clerked for him. She will bring a world of diversity, not just as a black woman, but as a public defender, somebody who is really down in the trenches of the legal system. They don't have that up there right now.
The number of fatalities in the San Antonio human smuggling operation has risen. Only 11 others who are inside that sweltering tractor-trailer survived. 4 people have now been charged, including the driver of that truck. You're listening to ABC News.
I'll second guest dinners with friends because they can be interrupted by diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or oily stools. It turns out I have EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, which means I'm missing the enzymes needed to digest food. My doctor prescribed Creon, pancrelipase, an oral prescription medication that replaces pancreatic digestive enzymes. Creon treats EPI due to cystic fibrosis, chronic pancreatitis, pancreatectomy, or other conditions.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall. If you're allergic to pork or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Creon is the #1 prescribed EPI treatment. Ask your doctor about Creon for EPI and visit creoninfo.com or call 800-633-9110 to learn more. That's CREONinfo.com.
Ukraine's military claiming a victory today over Russia in the fight over a strategic island.
The Ukrainian military posting a photo showing plumes of smoke rising from Snake Island, writing, "During a successful military operation overnight, the enemy has retreated." The Russian Ministry of Defense saying Russian forces have withdrawn as a gesture of goodwill. The move a major victory for Ukraine that could loosen the grip of Russia's blockade of grain exports since the island controls access to key sea lanes. Snake Island has been a focus of the war since day one, when Ukrainian guards there ordered to surrender radioed back to the Russian warship with insults. Inez de la Cuetara, ABC News, at the Foreign Desk.
The head of the Orlando Museum of Art fired in the midst of an investigation over whether nearly 24 works by artist Jean-Michel Basquiat were fakes. ABC's Andrew Dimbert.
The museum has long denied the works are fake.
We stand by our industrial, rigorous, academic process.
Aaron DeGroff was the museum's director until Tuesday when he was fired. An email quoted in an FBI affidavit shows DeGroff appeared to threaten an expert who assessed the paintings and expressed hesitation about the exhibit. DeGroff writing, "Shut up. You took the money, do your academic thing, and stay in your limited lane."
One red flag, one of the pieces was done on a FedEx box, which has a font which wasn't created until years after Basquiat died. This is ABC News.
Dell's Black Friday and July sale is here. Power productivity with a tech refresh, now with up to 45% off top-rated laptops like the XPS, along with our special deals on business desktops with Intel Core processors. Get big savings on the latest servers, storage, monitors, and more with free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Upgrade today by calling 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Sherry Preston, ABC News.
I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network. Add utilities like gas and electric to the list of everything else increasing in costs. Amanda Fay with O&N affiliate WTOL TV in Toledo reports.
Ohio utility companies want to raise costs for nearly 3 million customers. Columbia Gas is one of 4 Ohio utilities proposing the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio to allow a fixed monthly increase, nearly 3 times the current rate. The proposal would raise the fixed fee from $16.75 per month to $46.31. Any increases require commission approval.
The PUCO is reviewing that proposal and has already said the request appears to be higher than necessary. An Amber Alert issued yesterday out of Mansfield in north central Ohio has been resolved. Andrew Kinsey with O&N affiliate WBNS TV in Columbus explains.
Mansfield police saying the 10-day-old baby is safe. The mother, Mandy James, is in custody. Police say an Amber Alert was issued not because the girl had been abducted, but because she had never seen a doctor after being born at home and was in urgent care of medical attention. That child and mother were found near I-71 and U.S. Route 30. That baby now in the custody of Richland County Children's Services.
A 14-year-old tiger at the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium has died after developing pneumonia stemming from COVID-19. The big cat named Jupiter started acting sick last Wednesday and died on Sunday. I'm Dave James on the Ohio News Network.
More live and local programming than anyone else in the Ohio Valley. The Watchdog returns in moments.
Introducing our new redesigned 7 News app. Our new app features a sleek, modern design, an easy-to-navigate home screen with quick access to local news content and a localized weather forecast. Subscribing to notifications is easier, and with one tap, you have access to recent push notifications. There are more ways to watch and find video. To get the new WTRF 7 News app, just update the latest version or download the WTRF 7 News app in your Apple or Google Play Store by searching WTRF.
Cybersecurity attacks can cripple and even force a small business to close. Does your organization have a focused approach to being cyber resilient? If you can't answer yes, you should contact Omni Strategic Technologies to help you identify the steps to protect your data and reputation from the very real cyber threats that exist today. Schedule your free consultation by calling Omni at 304-242-7600 or online at omniperforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only cybersecurity firm that the Watchdog trusts.
Hello, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster with a look at your local weather forecast for your Thursday. Mostly sunny skies, a hot one, a daytime high near 89 degrees, the overnight low of 65 under partly cloudy skies. You'll see clouds, some sunshine, and the threat of a scattered shower around for your Friday with highs in the mid to upper 80s. Have yourself a great one, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
Great conversation continues now on the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
You've got a friend in me. You've got a friend in me. When the road looks rough ahead and you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed, you just remember what your old past said. Boy, you got a friend in me.
Your friends on this side of the radio. I'm Howard Monroe, Bob Slider behind the board. We are happy that you're here, and we love to be your friend every morning from 7 to 10. We may agree or disagree sometimes, but it's okay. We'll still be friends no matter what. With most of you. It's warming up outside. It's 70 degrees at the Wheeling, Ohio County Airport. 72 here at my home studios in Elm Grove. 69 degrees at the Highlands. And 69 degrees at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Last full day of sunshine today. Warm, humid today. Warmer and more humid than we've had. Pushing 90, calling it 87, 88, but pushing 90 during the day today. Higher humidity, but still lots of sunshine, blue skies. Now clouds and some rain come in for Friday and Saturday. Maybe linger into Sunday and into Independence Day, although Aaron Myler told us earlier that Independence Day will probably be... you shouldn't have to worry too much about your picnics or parties or barbecues or whatever it may be that you're doing. Bob, I said hamburgers earlier. Are you a burger or a dog guy?
I'm like you, Howard. Give me one of each.
It's one of each, yeah. I always ask, usually when we cook out, I will ask for 2 dogs and 1 burger. I give a little preference to the hot dogs. I like the hot dogs, but burgers are pretty good too. And everything is better on the grill, you know?
Yeah, I'm a hamburger guy. I mean, I could eat hamburgers just about every other night, sometimes, back to back. But you're exactly right. They are so much better on the grill.
Nancy does them many different ways here at home. We have an air fryer, which, by the way, I've never tried air fryer for hamburgers. Oh, they're tremendous, juicy and good. I don't know, on the oven, wherever she does them. But you just can't. You can't beat a grilled burger or a grilled dog, for that matter, or grilled chicken, or grilled fish. I mean, you fire up the grill and
throw it on a grill.
Go for it. Yeah. So have a good grilling weekend this weekend. We were talking last hour about Bob getting ready to turn a milestone age and getting a little bit pressed about that, and then we were talking about sort of reliving the days of our youth, and I mentioned that my wife wasn't always happy with me in the days of our youth, and I made a few other comments about my wife and her glare and so on. I hear echoes of our great friend Biff Leonard here this morning on the text line. From the text line, Howard, put the shovel away. In other words, don't dig my hole any deeper. Since Nancy came in and gave me the glare, I haven't had a chance to open the door and
you were doing good. You were doing good until the 37-year crack, and then it went downhill pretty good, Howard.
Yeah. And again, somehow, when I always make that joke, it's a joke, honey, it's a joke. Oh, married 45 years, 37 of the best years of my life. I make that joke all the time. And she never responds. She never says, oh, no, all 44, 45 were wonderful. Or says, like, 37? You think 37 of them were good? So, yeah, you're right. Never mind. Texter is saying, Howard, I just said, put the shovel away. All right, I'll put the shovel away. Bob, one of the things I will tell you at 69, especially when you have health issues like I do, you need that spouse to help you along. I'm not sure how I would function these days without a little of assistance. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not nearly as bad as you, but my wife is always there for me too. I just tell her to get the hell out. I'll take care of it myself. But she tries. I mean, she works, and there's 3 guys and 1 woman in our house, and she takes care of us. So
she takes care of it. Yeah,
she does.
That's the. My wife. She should just put the shovel away. My wife cannot stop being, well, I call her a grandma or a mom. My kids come into the house. What do you want to eat? You need some food? I can cook you some food. Should I go to the store for you? What do you have to have? Do you need me to do something for you? You know, they're all old, competent adults. Older, competent adults, right? I mean, Jason's, 42? They're competent adults. They can handle things on their own. They can actually go to the store and buy their own food and so on. But
that's
just,
mom.
It's just,
That's
It's the
mom.
momander. Absolutely. And sometimes they'll roll, sometimes the kids will roll their eyes at her a little bit. But you know what else they also do? Jason especially, because he lives so close. Almost every night he comes wandering in, just strolling in the door and says, Mama, what do you got to eat? So, never get too far from your mama.
And Howard, let's be true. Every Friday from noon to 3, you can hear tales from Donnie Gilbert about his saintly mother who took care of 6 boys and a rough husband by the name of Tom. So she had it rough. But Nancy has 4 boys she takes care of, Howard. Make no mistake about that.
Yeah.
And 5 with Teddy.
I would say one might say 5. Yeah, you got our 3 boys and Teddy and me. But she takes good care of me. Seriously, I joke a lot, but she really does. And I yell a lot. I think I told this story on the air before. A few weeks ago, Nancy and I are, every day, you and I talked this a couple of days ago, Bob, about arguing. Every single day, we have some kind of a little argument, a little disagreement, and every single day, at some point, we kind of raise our voice to each other a little bit. And we were having one of those incidents a week or so ago, and Teddy is looking and looking and looking. Finally, he said, "Am I in this fight too?" Which is a reminder that kids pay attention to what they see around them, I guess. All right, I'm going to put the shovel away. I'm going to put the preaching away. Bob, there's a story, a serious story, from President Biden yesterday that concerns me, and I think it's something you and I have talked about as fearful could happen. I am worried about where the war in Ukraine is going to go, particularly in terms of United States involvement. I know that Putin thought he was going to roll into the Ukraine, crush them, and literally in a day or two, take control of the country, and all would be, in his mind, well. The Ukrainians have fought back immensely, and it really is, it's almost a day by day. Some days the Russians win, some days the Ukrainians are winning, and it's going to keep on going. I don't see an end to it. And we have been, in the beginning, very careful as a country not to get involved directly in that war. We have offered some advice and support and so on, but we've been trying not to get directly involved. But my fear, Bob, and I think you and I both concur with this, my fear is that we're going to get drawn into this more and more and more.
Well, I kind of quit about a month or two ago of being obsessed with knowing as much about this as I could. But early in the game, I come to think that when Putin says something, you better pay attention, because he's not one to wave that saber and not do anything. And he always uses that analogy of the rat in the corner. When you push the rat to the corner, what does the rat do? He strikes. And that's what I'm concerned. He's saying, you go ahead and we're going to retaliate, or we're going to take action. And that is scary. I mean, what is more scarier out there than the thought of nuclear war, for God's sake?
And we have always lived under the concept of MAD, mutual assured destruction. Nobody will start a nuclear war because it would destroy both sides. But I worry about Putin. First place, a lot of rumors that he has got medical issues and may not be around long anyway. But even if that's not the case, I think Putin has decided he's got nothing to lose.
That's
destroy
what I'm
his
thinking.
country.
Yeah, absolutely.
Destroy his country. If he can destroy another country and his gets destroyed, he still have made his point. So I find that frightening. But President Biden yesterday said that the United States is going to expand its military presence in Europe. Now, not specifically in Ukraine. I want to be clear about that. But he said the U.S. will expand its military presence in Europe. Again, more reaction to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. He was speaking to a NATO meeting at the NATO summit, and he said the U.S. will enhance our force posture in Europe and respond to the changing security environment, as well as strengthen our collective security. Well, a lot of words there for simply saying, I'm going to make sure we beef up the troops a little bit. not in Ukraine, but in and around Ukraine, and that concerns me. There will be a permanent U.S. garrison in Poland, 2 additional squadrons of F-35 fighter jets to the UK, sending more air defenses, more capabilities to Germany and Italy, and we will be keeping 100,000 troops in Europe. That's a 20,000 troop increase since before the war in Ukraine. I'm worried that and I'm not criticizing the president for doing this. I'm not criticizing him. This has been my fear all along, that at some point we're going to get dragged into this militarily because we may not have any option. And I think this decision yesterday to increase the troops, increase the support in Eastern Europe, in and around Eastern Europe, I remember Vietnam. The Vietnam War did not start full-blown, Bob. You know that. We all know that.
It escalated.
It began with, we're just going to send a few advisors. That was the phrase. A few advisors to Vietnam to help them out. And then, a few troops to help out the advisors. And then we'd have to have a few more troops because the resistance has been stronger. And the next thing you know, we're in that full-fledged war. I'm not drawing that comparison specifically, but my fear is we have begun to inch our way closer to direct military involvement with Russia in this. And I like you, Bob, I see absolutely nothing good that comes from that.
And I try not to be so anti-Russia. I try to look at things from their point of view. And I say, okay, let's use Mexico as an example. Let's say Mexico said, you know what, to hell with you, United States. We're gonna saddle up with Russia. And we wouldn't put up with that for a minute. So if they feel a threat, whether it's warranted or not, I can see where they're saying, look, you better back off.
But I don't know that it's Russia, put that in quotes, as much as it is Putin. I'm not sure the Russian people, taken as a group, are behind what he's doing. And I'm not sure they would be behind it if they had a better understanding. Remember, he is telling them that, the Ukraine first of all, he's telling them that they're winning, which is not true. Secondly, he's telling them that the Ukraine are some kind of evil people trying to take over their territory, which also isn't true. So I think a lot of the Russian people are misinformed. But I think a lot of the Russian people themselves aren't happy with this whole thing. On the other hand, when you're in Putin's Russia, you don't speak up too much. Some of the people who have spoken up already have found themselves, whoops, where'd they go?
Yeah, but he's a Boy Scout compared to Stalin. And look at Khrushchev. When have the Russian people been happy?
See, I would disagree with Khrushchev. Khrushchev, as bizarre as he was, pounding his shoe on the United Nations table and all that kind of stuff. Khrushchev was a crazy, how do I want to phrase this? He was crazy, but a reasonable man. He didn't want his country blown up. He didn't want himself to die.
But he made threats.
He made threats, but what happened when the threat became real in the Cuban Missile Crisis?
Well, didn't we catch a break and he had a stroke or something? I mean, didn't maybe God strike him down? I don't know.
Well, he pulled back. And so Stalin was just an evil man. Hitler was an evil man. Khrushchev was a belligerent man, with totally different political and philosophical ideas than ours. But I wouldn't put him in the same category. I mean, that's just the way I would look at it. But anyways, this story of increasing military presence in Europe, it doesn't scare me. I think it may be necessary, but it just, in my mind, proves what I've been saying, which is that we're going to slowly but surely be walking our way closer and closer to getting involved in an actual war. And I don't know that there's an option, but I hate to see it. And when I saw that announcement yesterday, I thought, man, this is kind of what I've been afraid of. You said something at the beginning of this segment, Bob, which is true, by the way. You said that you used to be following this Ukrainian-Russian situation very closely, but not so much anymore. We did that as well. You will remember, before you were with us even, we were doing daily updates. I had a guest every single day talking about the war in Ukraine and so on. And as so often happens with so many things, it's kind of faded into the background now. We'll talk about it a bit with Tom Scudieri on Tuesdays, simply because he works out of the Pentagon. But it's kind of faded away. We don't spend as much time with it anymore. And I'm like you, it's kind of only in the back of my head now. For a while, it was front and center all the time. I don't know if that's good or bad, putting it in the back of our head. Maybe we shouldn't be worrying about it all the time. Maybe it's another example of how, after a while we burn out on a story and look for something else. I don't know.
Well,
I'm not
they
sure.
got problems in Ukraine. I got problems Sunday, Howard. So what are we going to do?
And I just have problems all the time. I just have all kinds of problems. 9:23 on the Watchdog Morning Show. I want to get to this poll on patriotism. It's not really a poll on patriotism. It's a poll on pride in America. And I want to talk about that coming up. It's a very depressing poll. Might as well be depressed some more, huh? It's a very depressed. So Bob's depressed about the birthday. I'm depressed about the military in Ukraine or in Eastern Europe. And we might as well get depressed about our patriotism as well. So I got that coming up here on the Watchdog Morning Show and a few other odds and ends about the 4th of July. 9:23, 23 after the hour. Temperature is moving up. 75 degrees at the airport, 77 here at the home studios.
Hey there, Dave Weekly here. Metro News Hotline presents what's trending in sports, music, movies, tech, television, and more from a Mountain State point of view. Renowned local and national guests pepper the daily lineup with authoritative insights and commentary on a wide variety of topics from West Virginia high school sports to the financial markets. Join the fun. Every day, Coop and I dip into irreverent discussions with calls, texts, tweets, the question of the day, and the always popular in or out. Metro News Hotline, weekdays from 3 to 6 on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Whether it's dinner for a special occasion, a quick lunch, or happy hour fun, the Highlands has you covered with nearly 24 eateries. Panera Bread, Wendy's, Chick-fil-A, and McDonald's, Fusion, El Paso, or Eaton Park. All just minutes away off I-70 on the hilltop at the Highlands.
We are compassionate.
We are focused.
We are confident.
We are dependable.
We are resilient.
We are skilled.
We are empathetic.
We are knowledgeable.
We are respectful.
We are here.
For you and your family.
We are close to home. We are
WVU Medicine.
Frio Stack and Associates Auctioneers, Realtors, Certified Appraisers specializing in antiques, business liquidations, multi-parcel land auctions. Frio Stack and Associates is a regional business offering the executor, attorney, agent, and other individuals the most comprehensive and technologically advanced auction and appraisal services available. For information on our service, call our office at 304-233-3168 or email frioauc@aol.com. Frio Stack and Associates sells the earth and everything.
If you missed us the first time, keep going. You'll find us just down the dial. AM 1600 and 1370, FM 98.1 and 97.7. We are the Watchdog.
We're on air, online, on video, and on demand. Find us where you like us. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
I am not a carry the flag on my sleeve kind of patriot, but I consider myself to be a patriot, to be patriotic. I am proud to be an American because I know I'm free, to quote Lee Greenwood there. I am very much proud to be an American. Bob, it is a really frightening survey to me from the Gallup poll on the eve of American Independence Day, our annual celebration of freedom, if you will. Pride in being an American is at an all-time low. We have never had more people saying they are not proud to be Americans. 38% of adults, only 38% of adults, say they are extremely proud to be an American. That is the lowest number ever since they began asking this question by the Gallup people. We have the lowest degree of patriotism, if that's the way you want to define this, since the poll was done. The average has always been at least 55% or higher, so we're significantly lower. In fact, prior to 2015, Gallup had never had anybody saying they were extremely proud lower than 55%. They never had one lower. Now we're at 38%. And I don't know, I mean, I can speculate. I don't know exactly what it is that has made people, yeah, of course, the insurrection, Donald Trump stealing the election, those kinds of things can be bothersome. I suppose, depending on your politics, the inflation in this country, the rising price of gas and so on, but does all of that negate our pride in the country, pride to be an American? I don't know. I don't think so, Bob.
Well, Howard, I mean, we're living through some tough times. And I know the Second World War, that was tough times. There's been a lot of tough times. And I know I find myself, I think sometimes, what's the use? But that lasts about 15 seconds. And then I think of Woody Williams, or I listen to this song. And I'll tell you what, I'm as patriotic as anybody. I dare you to come over and tell me I'm not. So it's there. Sometimes it goes away, but it's always there, Howard.
Well, I think that realizing our country's faults does not make you unpatriotic. In fact, I think it makes you patriotic when you say, wow, we're a great country, and we've slipped up here. This has been bad. That doesn't make, saying that out loud, I think, makes you more of a patriot. A patriot points out problems. A good friend points out problems, right? So, yeah, we're in tough times. But when we talked about patriotism a couple of weeks ago, Bob, I think you hit probably the best definition. A true patriot is one who puts country over politics, country over personal belief. And I think that's where a lot of people get very depressed. We look at our elected officials, and far too many of them seem to be putting politics first. Supreme Court, we're seeing that with now, the Senate and the Congress. So part of me is not totally surprised to see this, but I am nonetheless very depressed about it. It's interesting. We have a caller, is that correct?
No. Do we get the mental telepathy going or what?
No, I misinterpreted something you just said to me. Okay. I got it. Never mind. Will you all please disregard the private conversation Bob and I just had?
Or somebody call real quick.
Yeah, or somebody call real quick, exactly. Here is something interesting in this Gallup poll, though. They always, first of all, take an overall look at America. Then they divide it up, because we are a divided country. They divide it up into how Republicans feel, how Democrats feel, and I think independents they looked at as well. What is interesting to me in this poll, where pride in America is at an all-time low, it is due in large parts to a decline in patriotism by Republicans. And I tend to think of Republicans, for better or ill, I tend to think of them as more flag-waving patriotic. Now, I would certainly sometimes make the argument that some Republicans believe that simply flying the flag is enough, but still, I tend to think of Republicans as having pride in their country. But now, they are still the group most likely to express pride in the country, but that is a steep decline in this poll from the same poll done just 2 years ago. Almost 20% drop in Republicans saying they have great pride in their country. And what's interesting is the number among Democrats is up, which also somewhat surprises me. Now, I'm a Democrat. I have pride in our country. I think most Democrats do. But if you were to ask me which two, the blue or the red, probably have internally more pride in their country, I would have said the red. But that's not the case anymore. Remember the Wallet Hub poll that we shared with you last week, and we had Jill Hernandez on from Wallet Hub talking about it. Blue states, Democrat states, are showing more marks of patriotism than our red states. Speaking as a Democrat, that really surprises me. Really surprises me. But the Gallup folks say that this is all because we're in an era of declining trust in all of our institutions, which is a good point. And Donald Trump helped to drive our trust down. Donald Trump helped to drive the trust down in the media, the trust down in the judicial system, in the rule of law. Donald Trump tried to destroy all belief in institutions other than belief in himself. And that may be part of what's happening here. But I find it a very frightening story that this is the lowest amount of patriot or pride in the country. Again, I'm using this term
Yeah,
very
but come on,
interchangeably,
Howard. I'm going to butcher John Kennedy quote here. You know, warning to all friend and foe alike. Don't put too much snuff into that, because yes, we're squabbling right now and we are divided right now. But the minute that this nation comes under any kind of attack or any kind of serious opposition, we're all going to unite. You know that, Howard.
You know, you have more optimism than I do. Under attack, yes. A 9/11 kind of thing, yes. I mean, there are even political squabbles over what should we do with Ukraine. It used to always be that, what was the phrase? You know, politics ended at the border. That when the president or when this country got involved in international affairs, we all pulled together. I'm not sure I agree with you, Bob. I think that the political squabbling, the political divide, may go beyond that. Now, again, if we're attacked, if there is literally if this escalation in Ukraine that I'm talking about, that the president's now talking about sending military troops, if it escalates, and we'll probably hear even today, people criticizing this. If it escalates into a full-fledged war, you'll see sides in this country being taken. Remember, you are a lot better at history than I am, Bob. Remember, we had to be dragged kicking and screaming into World War II.
You're right, but remember 9/11 also. And we have a third opinion here, Howard.
Yeah. Good morning.
Morning here, Howard. How you doing?
Let me check. All my parts are in place.
Sound good. You sound good. Listen, hey, first of all, I call it almost every day back complaining about the signal down here in Clarendon, but you guys are coming in loud and clear now, so I say thank you.
Okay.
Listen, you was born in 1953. I was born in 1953. All right? So we're going to start off level and even. But you know, when you went to school, when I went to school, we stood up and we pledged allegiance to the United States of America. You remember?
Well, we didn't. We stood up and pledged allegiance to well, no, hold on a minute. I'm going to be really particular. We pledged allegiance to the flag, which is a little bit different. But go ahead. I know where you're going, but I want to
what I'm saying is
hold that point out for a minute. But go ahead.
All I'm saying to you is that we stood up and we said, pledged allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. That's no longer in school. I don't even know if it's allowed anymore.
You know what? I'm not so sure. No, I'm not sure that's not in school anymore.
Every morning? Every day?
Yeah, I know. We do not have prayer in school anymore.
Well, I know,
but
because
I'm not sure that the Pledge of Allegiance has been taken out of school. I think, at least many schools, I don't know that all schools do, but I think many schools start the day with the Pledge of Allegiance. So I'm not sure that's actually true.
And then, you know what, seriously, I was a supervisor for years, but, you know, a lot of young men that would come in where I worked at, we would talk and discuss things, and I was shocked that they had no idea about American history. I mean, none whatsoever. I mean, it really was, totally, and you know, I've always been like this, Howard. You didn't have to go into service, and I didn't have to go into service during the Vietnam era, okay? Right. But, you know, when I see a veteran, you know what I always say to him? If I'm waiting and he's waiting, I tell him to go in front of me, because you know why?
Yeah. Sure.
I always tell him, I said, you know, Bub, you was over at Rice Patty, and I was eating that hamburger at McDonald's. You don't see any of that out of people. You know what I'm saying? You really don't. And it really hurts me, you know. And you know that as well as I do, Howard.
You know what? I'm not arguing with you. I'm just offering a different perspective. I see lots and lots and lots of people, whenever they see a veteran, the first words out of their mouth are, thank you for your service.
Right, thank you. Go ahead.
I think we do see a lot of that.
Well, all I'm saying to people out there is, you know what? The next time, take the one father step and say, listen, buddy, you go in front of me. Just to show them that kind of courtesy. You see what I'm saying?
I'm completely in favor of that. I completely agree.
Respect
for our veterans. And certainly it is something we were reflecting on a lot more today with the death of Woody Williams yesterday. kind of
Right.
reminds us about this. So I'm with you completely on that. I'm just not so sure that we have lost all that respect the way you're implying. I think a lot of people still have it. And I think a lot of people, again, I think a lot of schools still do the Pledge of Allegiance. TV7 starts the morning every day with the Pledge of Allegiance.
They do. Yes, they do. And I'm not saying, but what I'm saying is.
We start every day, Bob. Don't we still start every day with the Star Spangled Banner?
Yes, we do a prayer and Whitney Houston's version of the Star Spangled Banner. Yes.
So, I mean,
Well,
I think it's still out there. I think it's still around.
You guys come on at 7 in the morning, right?
Well,
Actually, 6.
We start that at 6, yeah.
Well, anyway, what I'm saying is your signal is weak until later on when things kind of warm up, then it comes in stronger. So I don't get to hear that part. But I listen to you every day, and I'll
You want me to
say
sing?
this.
Wait a minute. You want me to sing it for you? I can sing it for you right now.
No, Howard, I've heard some of your reminiscences. In fact, I never knew some of them songs you sing. I never heard them sound like that before. But all I'm saying is that, you know, you have grandkids. I have grandkids. You know, and it's part of our job as grandpaps to say, hey, stand up there. You know, be proud of your country. You know, and listen, if this country wasn't what it was like, why would all them people trying to come in from, you know, down on the border? I mean, let's be. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, we are still, as bad as we have been, I think, in the last handful of years, we are still a beacon of light to the world. I think our light's been dimming a little bit, but I think we are. And you're right. People still want to come here. It's because of, as Lee Green was saying, it's because of the freedoms we have. And, you know, it's really important that we continue to try to protect all of our freedoms.
Right. But, you know, you were talking about Kennedy and Khrushchev. The thing about those world leaders back then, John F. Kennedy was in a war, and Khrushchev was in a war.
Yes.
Some men knew what war was all about and what the tragedies of war. We don't have that in the leaders today. You know what I'm saying?
That's a great point right there.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I don't disagree with that. Yep. I don't disagree with that at all. Hey, listen, I have to run on because I'm way behind time. Great conversation. Please call again. Thanks for being here this morning.
Okay.
9:40, 20 till the hour here on the Watchdog Morning Show. I'm a little bit behind time. I want to get that in. But he makes some good points. I think that some schools still do the Pledge of Allegiance. Now, no schools do the prayer anymore.
Well, we know that for sure because Channel 7 every morning picks a particular school and they do
the school does it.
Yes,
exactly.
yes. So I do think he was a little bit off there. I do think, I don't know about every school, but I know here they do. They give the Pledge of Allegiance.
I'm sure there's some schools that don't, but many of them still do. I don't think it's unlike. I get where it was aiming at, and unlike prayer in school, which has been declared, the Supreme Court ruling this week notwithstanding, prayer in school has been declared unconstitutional, and so we don't see prayer in school. But I think the Pledge of Allegiance is still said in many schools, not all, but in many schools. I think. All right, let's grab some news here. And do we grab the news? Hello, news, I've got you here. No, I'm not going to grab some news. Let's listen to some news from Metro News, check some sports as well, and then we'll work our way up to Bob Westfall from TV7 and find out what they're working on today here on the Watchdog Morning Show.
West Virginia Metro News. I'm Chris Lawrence. The long-standing law in West Virginia that makes abortion a felony is being challenged. The organizations that filed that lawsuit contend the old law was used not only to punish doctors or nurses, but sometimes the person seeking an abortion or their partner. Metro News statewide correspondent Brad McElhaney.
Medical providers and advocates have filed a lawsuit in Kanawha Circuit Court, contending the old law no longer holds up because so many new laws that conflict with it have been passed since it was last in effect.
And this comes while State Attorney General Patrick Morrissey has concluded the law is valid, but it could also stand some legislative attention. States are figuring out these next steps following the sudden reversal of 50 years of federally guaranteed rights to abortion. Funeral services are set for World War II hero Herschel Woody Williams.
Beard Mortuary in Huntington says Williams's body will be transported from Huntington to the state capitol Saturday morning. There'll be a processional beginning at 8 o'clock. Public visitation in the lower rotunda at the Capitol is set from 10 until 6 Saturday and 10 until 2 Sunday. Williams's funeral will be Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock at the State Culture Center. A Beard Mortuary spokesperson says it's an honor to be able to carry out the wishes of Woody Williams himself and his family. The 98-year-old Williams had been in contact various times with Beards over the last few years. about his funeral.
That's Jeff Jenkins' reaction and reflection on Williams' death continuing to pour in from around the state. Woody Williams dead at 98. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. Authorities in Randolph County say they do not believe there is an ongoing threat to the public after the discovery of dynamite in Elkins. Multiple buildings had to be evacuated of people Wednesday afternoon after contractors renovating the Tigard Hotel found that dynamite. West Virginia State Police Explosive Response Team responded to the scene and removed the dynamite and disposed of it properly. State Lottery Director John Myers predicting the lottery will finish the fiscal year today with a total revenue of approximately $1.25 billion. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Chris Lawrence.
Introducing Beat the Stigma, Ohio's newest game show, where contestants go head-to-head to uncover the underlying causes of addiction. Did you know many of the contributing factors of addiction are beyond your control? Genetics can be responsible for 50% of your risk for addiction. Addiction is not a decision, it's a disease, and it's treatable. Can you beat the stigma? Challenge what you know about addiction at beatthestigma.org.
America's favorite car show returns to Columbus for a huge weekend of hot rod and fun the whole family will love. It's the Good Guys 24th Summit Racing Nationals presented by PPG. And it's all going down July 8th through the 10th at the Ohio Expo Center. Explore over 6,000 of the country's coolest hot rods, muscle cars, and trick trucks. Plus, shop the huge swap meet and hundreds of vendor exhibits. Check out the earth-shaking Nitro Thunderfest, tire-smoking burnout competition, and don't miss our Mustang Madness exhibit celebrating 6 generations of the iconic Ford Mustang. It's all happening July 8th through the 10th at the Ohio Expo Center. Details at good-guys.com.
Hey, I'm going to the kitchen. Can I grab you a Coors Light?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Huh. I never knew there was a zip line in my fridge. Hey! Hey, buddy! Yeah! You got 2 Coors Lights up there?
You got it!
Always brewed down to 34 degrees. With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go. 2 Coors Lights.
Awesome, man. Wow, these are really cold.
That's the only way I deliver it.
Sure. I mean, you being a mountain climber and all.
Yep.
You probably need a pretty warm coat in there, huh?
Yep.
Hey, Ben!
Yeah!
Ask him if he has any nachos.
You got any nachos in there?
No.
Just icy cold Coors Light?
Yep.
That makes sense. It is the Rockies.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
He has his say. You can have yours. Text us or call us and join the conversation. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe.
From Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, well, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me, and I'm glad.
Talking about America, talking about patriotism, a new poll, Gallup poll just released this week, says that pride in America is at an all-time low. And it's interesting enough, Republicans have less pride now than they did before. Democrats have more than they did before. I don't like dividing things up by that, but the political divide is part of what I think is the problem anymore. Last caller, I think, made a good point. We do not do some things in school the way we used to. I don't know that it contributes to our decline in patriotism, but we do say the Pledge of Allegiance in many schools. Not all schools, but many schools still say the Pledge of Allegiance. There is no prohibition against it. It is said, again, Channel 7 has school students saying it at the beginning of every day. They have different schools doing the Pledge of Allegiance, and so that's still out there. What we don't have is prayer in school. I mean, that is firmly verboten. Or again, at least until the Supreme Court, this current political Supreme Court, changes that. But it has always been the position of the courts that the Constitution is clear. You do not mix religion and politics. You do not let the government declare what kind of religion we want to follow, or let the religion dictate government. Lauren Boebert is a Colorado congresswoman and a true Looney Tune, one of the Looney Tunes in Congress. This week she was talking to a group of church folks in Colorado, and she said she's tired of this whole idea of separation of church and state. She said, and I quote, "The church is supposed to direct the government," end quote. Now, here's the question I have. Which church? Now, I could go and talk about one of Muslims there. I could talk about satanic churches. I could talk about Wiccans. I could talk about the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. Let's just keep it in the realm of basic Judeo-Christian churches. Which church, Lauren, do you think should direct our government? The Catholic Church and the Pope? The Protestant Church? The Mormons? The Church of Latter-day Saints? Which church do you think should direct the government? What Lauren Boebert means, what most people who think that the government should be dictated by church, they mean their church, whatever their church may be. Well, that's why, because the answer to the question, which church, is really critical. And so we don't direct our government by the church. We just simply don't do it. I'm tired of the separation of church and state junk, she says. But again, I would love to be able to ask her, who exactly do you want, what church do you want to dictate?
Who is she? Who's this woman?
Lauren Boebert.
What does she do?
She's a congresswoman.
Oh.
And she's a nutcase.
Sounds like it. What state?
She's a nutcase. She comes from Colorado.
Oh, okay. You just said that.
But she and Marjorie Taylor Greene, they're a pair. They just, they have never introduced any legislation of any value. They never talk about anything that's policy. They just tout Fox News quotes and say things like, the church should dictate the government. Again, the question is, which church? Adam Kinzinger, who's also a Republican, by the way, but he was one who voted to impeach Trump, so Republicans don't always claim him. Adam Kinzinger, responding to her comments, said, and I think he's right, he says, what she said is no different from the Taliban. I mean, we have fought and argued against Iran under a Muslim rule. We have fought and argued against the Taliban ruling Afghanistan. We're still having that debate right now. It's a religious group that's running the country. We make the argument that that's not right because we don't like the Taliban. We don't like the mullahs in Iran. So we have come to the conclusion that it's bad, and we're right. Church-directed government makes absolutely no sense. And Adam Kinzinger says, he says, I'm making these comments as a Christian. Look, I'm a Christian. I preach, for heaven's sakes. But I don't think we should be dictating government policy. I always hope that we have folks who believe in Christian principles in office, and that will inform the decisions they make. But I don't want the church directing. Again, because first of all, which church? Just keep it in the Christian faith. Just the Christian church. Catholics? Mormons? Evangelicals? Normal everyday Presbyterians like me? Who do we want to be? If we want the church to direct it, who do we want to do it? It makes no sense. And Kinzinger is right. It actually is far too much like the Taliban, far too much like the mullahs in Iran, far too much like the folks that we argue against in other countries. Again, be a Christian. I'm a Christian, so I say that's a good thing. Be a Christian. Let your Christian values inform your votes and so on if you're a member in Congress. But we don't become an arm of the church. And most church people I know don't want that either, because they know that if the church and the government get too intertwined, if you're on the wrong church, right? If you're in the wrong church, the government could choose to, put you in a box someplace. So, but Boebert's always been crazy. She's an absolute, complete Looney Tune and nutbag, who will likely win her election again, because I guess some people like to vote for the Looney Tunes and the nutbags. Hey, before I get to Bob Westfall in a minute or two here, I should remind you that the fireworks begin tonight here in the Upper Ohio Valley, Bob. Elm Grove tonight at dusk. The Patterson Ballfield fireworks are back, and this will be the kickoff for fireworks around the Upper Ohio Valley. I know that here in the Monroe household, we'll gather most of our family on the deck, and we'll get some Patsy's Pizza, and we'll just sit around and watch the fireworks go off. So Elm Grove today, the kickoff of the fireworks around the Upper Ohio Valley. Let's see.
I wouldn't get my hopes up for Patsy's Pizza either.
Oh, why do you say that?
I think they've been closed all week. There's a sign in the door.
No, you're right. But I think I saw a note on Facebook they were open now. You have said that. I think it was, what was it? Air conditioning?
I didn't read the sign.
Now that you said that, I think you're right. But I do think now I got to double check it. I will double check that for sure. But I thought I thought I saw a note on Facebook. They said they were open, but I could be wrong about that. So yeah, double check. I'm glad you reminded me of that. Fireworks continue tomorrow in St. Clairsville, and let's see where else tomorrow. St. Clairsville and Bethlehem tomorrow, and then on Sunday the big Ogilvy fireworks display, and on Monday, of course, the 4th of July itself.
Boss, I hate to do this. But we got to back up here a minute. Tomorrow is Friday. Today is Thursday. Are we on the same page?
Yeah, tomorrow's the 1st, right?
Yes, but you said there's tonight. Tonight in Elm Grove on a Thursday?
Tonight in Elm Grove, yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, June 30th.
Oh, okay.
Tonight.
Gotcha.
Yes, tonight.
Tonight.
Tomorrow, St. Clairsville and Bethlehem. Sunday in Ogilvy. And I'm not reading all of these, just the big ones. And then, of course, the 4th of July at Heritage Port at dusk in downtown Wheeling. So those are some of the...
Lots of fireworks.
What's that? All those fireworks?
Lots of fireworks. And that kind of surprises me. I mean, because you could put on a professional job in your own yard if you wanted to. I thought we were going the other way, Howard. I thought we were going, well, is this really worth it?
Well, first of all, keep in mind, in the city of Wheeling, we have prohibited fireworks displays in your own yard.
Yes, I heard that. But let's see how things work out this weekend, Howard.
I have in my hot little hand a list of prohibited fireworks in the city of Wheeling. Anything that propels into the air, prohibited. Anything that is combustible, explosive, flammable, or audible, no. Roman candles, verboten. Bottle and skyrockets, niet. Sky lanterns, no. That's the city of Wheeling's list of prohibited fireworks. Now, in the city of Wheeling, what you can do in your backyard, you can have the snaps. Oh, boy. Boom. Nice little snaps. You can have sparklers. All right, you can wave the sparklers around, pretend like you're the Statue of Liberty or something. The little fountains that will spray sparks up from the, you can have those things. And I don't know what non-propellant noisemakers are, but that's on the list of things that are acceptable as well. In case you're curious, I'd like to give you the citation. It is Ordinance 1535.01. And failure to obey, I've got this in the city right here, I'm reading it. Failure to obey City Ordinance 1535.01 can result in a citation from law enforcement. So keep that in mind. While we have the fireworks set to go off in various public locations tonight, watch your backyard, because anything that propels into the air is combustible, explosive, flammable, or audible, ain't going to be legal. As I've asked the last several years, how much will they enforce that? Will they actually? And they have. I mean, a couple of years ago, I turned on the scanner and listened some evenings, and they do go out. Attention, car 4, there's a report of a firework going off in Elm Grove, and they go and check it out. Although half the time I get the sense that the cops really are going like, okay, we'll go check it out. So, do you put fireworks off? Well, I don't want I don't want you to admit.
Hey, I don't want Davey Palmer over knocking on my door, asking me to knock it off. No, I don't, Howard. I've never been a big fan of that. I just never have.
Actually, we never did either. When the kids were kids, we did some of the things that are permitted. We did the little, little tank you could light and it would run around, run around in the street, and sparklers, of course, and some of those kind of things. I don't think we ever did anything that was. I don't think we did anything that would be prohibited now. If it was, it was just very, very minor stuff. But boy, I'll tell you, you can hear it. You can begin to hear it already, and the weekend will just be full of the bang bangs. all throughout the upper Ohio
I'm going to
Valley.
go out on a limb here, Howard. I'm going to say
Yes, sir.
there's going to be lots and lots of firework activity because it just seems to me that that's just the way it goes. I mean, unless somebody actually gets hammered with a $500 fine, they're just going to do it.
Unless many somebodies get hammered with a $500 fine. I don't totally disagree with the prohibition. I mean, the fireworks can be dangerous. They do disturb people. I get all of that. But, it's a tradition. People like to put fireworks off. Now, it's true that half of the people who are putting them off in my neighborhood are just doing it to irritate the neighbors, right? I mean, some people are doing it just because it's fun. They want to put it off. Some people are doing it because they just want to irritate the neighbors. And I get where Dave Palmer is coming from, really wanting these enforced. But if it's going to make any difference, they've got to, almost send the fireworks SWAT team out to crack down on 10, 15, 20 people, charge them all $500.
Or a whole bunch
and
of
then
citizens
maybe
arrest.
people will wake up.
Do the old Barney Fife. Citizens arrest, citizens arrest.
That's a possibility, I guess. Anyway, fireworks in Elm Grove tonight, and then the others are the rest of the weekend. We'll talk more about the 4th of July and fireworks and all kinds of stuff tomorrow here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Hopefully, McCabe will be with us again tomorrow. He had to call it off at the last minute last week, although I think we had a pretty good show. I can't remember what we did, but we filled for Mr. McCabe pretty well. So tomorrow, the roundtable, the Friday funnies, a few other odds and ends, 4th of July festivities and stuff. And whatever news happens today, we'll be talking about it tomorrow. But for now, I have to say sayonara, see you, bye-bye, farewell. I got to go. I got to get out of here. I shall return tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock, for another go-around of the big gig. Mr. Slider, back with me again?
I'll be here bright and early, Howard.
All right. We'll be prepared for our 4th of July day tomorrow, here on the Watchdog Morning Show.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The Supreme Court is this minute releasing more decisions, the final ones this term. One of them deals with President Trump's Remain in Mexico policy for immigrants, the other with the EPA's authority to regulate greenhouse gas emissions. After that, Justice Stephen Breyer will call it quits, and Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson will be sworn in.
Ketanji Brown Jackson will bring a world of diversity, not just as a black woman, but as a public defender, somebody who is really down in the trenches of the legal system. They don't have that up there right now. And she'll mark 4 women justices on the Supreme Court for the first time.
That's ABC's Terry Baran at the Supreme Court. President Biden has just wrapped up a news conference at the conclusion of the NATO summit in Madrid, talking to reporters about an expanded NATO presence in Europe because of the Russian invasion of Ukraine.
We provided Ukraine with nearly $7 billion in security assistance since I took office. The next few days, we intend to announce more than $800 million more, including new advanced Western air defense systems for Ukraine.
The president also talking about the Supreme Court decision last week overturning Roe v. Wade, calling it destabilizing because it challenges the right to privacy. 53 migrants dead in San Antonio, and now we're learning more about it.
The truck came across the U.S.-Mexico border at Laredo, Texas, but apparently was not inspected. The Texas Department of Public Safety now is being dispatched.
The EPS will create and implement a checkpoint strategy beginning immediately.
Governor Greg Abbott says state troopers will back up the overwhelmed federal border agents.
They will begin targeting trucks like the one that was used where these people perished.
A law enforcement source tells a San Antonio newspaper that the driver of the truck was, in his words, high on meth when he was arrested. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
Consumer spending jumped 6.3% in May from a year earlier. The latest sign inflation is still taking a toll. The slightly fewer Americans did apply for unemployment benefits last week. This is ABC News.
If you owe the IRS back taxes, then get ready